Good evening. Welcome to the September 20th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Matt McNamara. I'd like to introduce the rest of the board to you. To my right is Patty Johnson, who is a voting member of the board. Ken Foreman, who is also a voting member of the board, will come back after the beginning of our meeting. To my left is Tricia Favuli, who is the clerk of the board. To her left is Scott Zielinski, who is a voting member of the board. And to his left is David Haddad, who is an associate member of the board. At this time, the board is down one member, an associate member, so those who may be interested in applying to the board, I'd suggest they contact Sari Budrow, who is our zoning administrator, who is seated at the far table. Also at the far table is Melanie Matthews, who is our recording secretary. This evening we have two continuations of hearings from August 23rd, and we have two new hearings, and then we do have a open meeting agenda after that. For those of you who may not be familiar with our hearing process, we do try to take testimony from individuals, gather evidence, try to have a full and fair hearing so that we can make a decision on all of the applications. I would ask for your respect and courtesy as we go through the evening, initially by silencing all of your cell phones or electronic devices, listening to applicants, refraining from private conversations, and there will be an opportunity at each hearing for the public to participate. Our first hearing, again, is a continuation. It is application 59-12 in the matter of Sands at 22 Dartmouth Avenue in Falmouth. This matter has already been read into the record. We've heard testimony, and we last left it with our concerns that we shared with the applicant regarding the lot coverage that was proposed on this parcel in the Heights. So, and the voting members are all those that are here. Thank you. So, Pat, are you representing the applicant still? Yes. Thank you. If you'd come on up and introduce yourself. And,
my name is Pat Schutter with Hubbard Homes Building, representing the Sands. When we came before you last, the board had some concerns or some questions about the height of the existing house, which was 25 feet, as you can see in the packet. The new house is actually 26.10, so it's only 1 foot 10 inch taller. The other concerns that you had were the photographs that we gave you did not actually give you the addresses of the homes that we had taken the photographs of. So with the within 25 foot, the abutters, 18 Dartmouth Street, directly next door, has a 27% lot coverage with a 7,700 square foot lot. That's one of the photographs in your package. 23 Amherst Street is 42% lot coverage with a 3,750 square foot lot. That's in their backyard, actually in their backyard. The house across the street is a 6,000 square foot lot with a 32% lot coverage. And then right down the street on Grand Avenue on the corner, the new home that's being built there now is a 31.5 lot coverage. Lot 205 is 48%, and 205 is 48%. And then the last photograph that we sent you is an actual picture of the home that you were concerned may not fit into the neighborhood. So the Sands had gotten this photograph of the home that they'd actually like to build, so you can see it does look like the other homes in the neighborhood. We did decrease the size of the home, took the columns off in the arbor, as I think the board thought that might look a little over the top, closer to the road. So those were both taken off, which decreased the size by to 24.5 instead of 25%. And it does meet the setbacks on 3 sides and improve the setback on the front from 3.5 to 5.5. And the Sands, they do believe that they need the 2-car garage only because if you look at the front page, they have 2 cars. They have a motorcycle and a lawnmower, which now they store their belongings in the sheds in the back, which will be removed. We will have no basement in this house, so for storage purposes, they do want the space over the garage, and they like to put their vehicles in. Dartmouth Street is a one-way road, so if they have to park one vehicle in the driveway, that leaves no parking for anyone that might be coming to the property. think
All right,
that
what
was
we'll do
most
is-
of your questions. And
What we'll do is we'll see if there's anything new in the file, Pat, then we'll go to some questions, okay? Thank you.
Here's an update from the Board of Health on the new house plans that they've updated. Showroom over garage as unfinished, not a fourth bedroom, so no issue with that. But my only remarks about lot coverage and area available for septic replacement are still valid. Remember the last time he had some concerns about replacing the septic, if need be. Yeah, and the 4 bedrooms. And that's it, there's nothing else new.
All right, let's see if there's any follow-up questions. Patty, do you want to start?
Yes. For some odd reason, the number of square feet, according to the new plot plan that was filed on September 18th, shows that the new is a little bit bigger, but the percentage lot cover is less. So it's just a fractional difference. I can't figure out how when your old plan had 25% and the new plan has 24.5, and yet the square footage of the footprint is bigger.
they took 6 inches off the front porch. And they took
Oh, and I
6 inches
couldn't-
off the garage, and then there was a bump out on the back of the
Yeah, and
original
I know
plan. They
that's-
took that off. So the square footage was smaller.
It says, I don't know, anyway, you listed the new square footage, it's just fractionally above the other one, but 0.5% less. The new square footage is 1884, and the prior one was 1880, which is minuscule difference, but the percentage dropped was 0.5%. So I can't quite figure out how, except 6 inches. I see that because I couldn't pick the 6 inches up. I can pick out everything else. I just couldn't figure that out, and it's small. And I can't, I'm not good at figuring out percent lot coverage, so I'll just go with, right?
Any other questions?
Do you understand my question?
No, I don't.
I understand your question, but Pat's saying it's not an increase in square footage.
He actually
No, it's not
decreased by
an
the-
increase in percent, it's a decrease in the
Right.
percent lot coverage,
Right, but also-
but it's it's,
She's saying no.
oh, look, I took it right off the plans.
It was
It was
18.
1884, and it's now like
It's
44.
1844 now, according to the plan.
Right.
It was 1880 before,
Right,
1880 before, okay, well, I added.
so it's a
18.
decrease.
right?
Okay, all right, it's my,
Okay?
it is minuscule. Yeah. That was one. So what it was is 6 inches, but the bump out on the back is
Yes,
gone. and
yes,
and
it's gone.
6 inches in the garage, and the columns are gone. in
Yes.
the garage.
I think the board thought they looked
Yeah.
bulky.
And one other question is, this, I didn't quite hear you. Is this a mock-up of the house?
That's a picture of of a house that's built, that's what they took their drawings from.
Okay, so it's not a, architecturally generated plan?
No.
It's similar?
Yes,
Okay. And it's not in Falmouth Heights? Okay. All right.
but if you look at the other photographs in the package, it looks very much like the other houses in the area, which is why they chose that plan. They were trying to make it fit into the area.
Okay. Those are my questions right now.
Thanks, Patty. David?
Hey, Pat. I was just wondering if there was any thought about reworking the garage, because I remember a couple of the board members thought the overall structure was bulky.
Yeah.
Is there any, besides trimming it down just 6 inches?
Well, again, with the way the Sands were, their feeling was that if they have a one-car garage, they put the car in front of the garage, then they have to put the motorcycle out there. They have nowhere to store they have no basement now, so they have the garage over top they were going to use for all their storage that they had in the basement and the outer buildings. And then if they park their cars in the front, there's nowhere for anyone else to park. So I guess their thought is with the neighborhood, would the neighbors prefer all those cars parked outdoors, or would the garage actually?
But that existing garage is in the rear, so I think just bringing it around, I think that's why, where
If
that
you bring it
bulky
around
look
to the
came
back,
from.
I think it'll be on top of the septic system. Is that what you mean? Like bring it around and touch the fence?
I don't know, I'm just wondering if
Oh.
you gave it some thought.
We did. Yeah, we did. We did give it some thought. If we moved it around to the back, it would be touching the fence, and there would be no backyard at all.
So this was obviously the best solution.
It is.
No
And,
further.
and the septic is in the backyard of my home, yes.
No further, thanks.
Scott?
No, sir, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Tricia?
Pat, the Board of Health had some concern for a replacement if need be. Did you talk to them about that?
I've talked to Dave, he didn't mention that, I mean, I know he mentioned it in his email to Sheree.
Yeah.
That, I guess when we get to Board of Health, we'd have to
Okay.
hopefully cross.
And tell me why there couldn't be a one-car garage to get down that lot coverage down even further? I understand with 2 cars and all of that, but you certainly could have a side parking space on the side of the garage, which would reduce your lot coverage even further than the 24.5.
I just think they want to put their cars in. They have a motorcycle, they have or a lawnmower, they have the 2 cars. I guess that's basically the reason.
All right, thank you.
Do you want to hear from Mr. Sands, might want to say
No,
something?
I believe you.
I think they just don't want the neighborhood to look cluttered with,
Well, if you look at most of the photos that are comparison photos, you have either no garage or one-car garage, so it would be keeping in the neighborhood to have a one-car garage or no garage at all to get the lot coverage down. That's all I have.
Thanks, Tricia.
Thank you.
Pat, the space over the garage. Obviously, the Board of Health referral is concerned that that could be counted as a bedroom. Is that going to be unfinished?
completely unfinished.
Is there going to be any heat up there?
No,
Any electrical other than just, overhead?
no.
Okay.
Well, I think you have to have
Yeah.
a light bulb.
But there won't be outlets or whatever?
No.
Okay.
And actually, we moved the entrance to go up there, so the entryway is not even going to be, the entrance to the house is further back. There's a little entry to get up there that's also unheated.
Okay. All right. Sri, any questions? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that has a comment on this or a question? All right, I think you do. So come on up and introduce yourself. Tell us if you're in favor, opposed, or you just have some general comments or questions.
Hi, my name is Andrew Bennett. I live on the corner of Grand Ave and Amherst. I've been in front of you a few times. This is the last abutter of 4 abutters of mine, and this will be the last one to be rebuilt, so I won't be back after this. To be honest with you, I looked at the plan. I mean, no, it doesn't really matter, but I thought it looked pretty good for the neighborhood. I've been here opposing a couple of the others, which I think were far overbuilt. The one right next door, 26, they're 22, so 26 Dartmouth Ave. I bet if you looked at that plan and turned it sideways, it's probably bigger than their total house now, and they have no room for 100% or expansion of the septic. They're going to have a detached garage with more lot coverage. I personally don't see why they just can't, do what they'd like to do. I think it'd look nice in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out to support your neighbor. All right, anyone else? Any other comments? Yes, sir. Mr. Sands, come on up.
Good evening. My name is James Sands. Will be the owner of this house. I just wanted to say a few things to maybe reassure the board a little bit. Both our families go way back in Falmouth. I've been here all my life. My wife her family has owned that house since the early 60s. We love the Heights, and we would never build a house that we thought wouldn't fit in. In fact, one of the houses across the street will look very similar to it. The architecture from the turn of the century, the Heights, is going to be pretty similar to that. The 2-car garage, we feel is necessary. We do have 2 cars. I have a motorcycle. I have a small woodworking shop. We have 3 children who visit a lot, and just with no basement. And I do have 2 sheds plus a trailer that I'm storing stuff in right now, a small motorcycle trailer. And I'd like to get rid of all that and clean up and landscape. But like I said, we go way back in the town of Falmouth. I worked on the base for 30 years in civilian and a military capacity. And we just wouldn't do anything that would destroy anything of the heights. We love it there, and we'd like to spend the rest of our life there. So if you have any other questions of me, the 2-car garage really would be necessary for the stuff that I have. Lawn furniture in the winter, motorcycle shop, and also with no basement, we have no storage at all. So,
Thank you, Mr. Sands.
thank you.
All right. Anything else? Board want to discuss this? I know the board was fairly split the last time, so why don't we have a bit of a conversation before we close and take action, okay? In case anyone's had changed thoughts or whatever. You want to start, Tricia?
Sure, I still haven't changed thoughts. My feeling is the same. It's too large for the lot, and it's not in keeping with the neighborhood, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Patty?
I think the house looks better without the columns, and it's interesting because putting a bigger shed dormer in the garage actually looks better too, which surprised me, but it does. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm the same way. I think I'm going to support the changes and let them have a 2-car garage.
Next, David?
I still liked, I liked it last time, I still like it, but if we were hung up on the 2-car garage, maybe they would think about the 1 car and giving them a shed out back if, you thought it was too bulky. I thought maybe they were, when we were talking about it being too big or whatever for the area, they were thinking about swinging that garage around back, but I could see why they wouldn't. I know they need the storage. Mr. Sands said he didn't want all that stuff cluttering the yard, so I'm in favor of the way they have it now, but I wouldn't be opposed to some suggestions.
Scott?
I've changed my mind on, being that they're in the floodplain and they don't have any storage down below, and they have agreed to leave above the garage unfinished. And after seeing the markup, I think it is in fitting with the neighborhood, and I am inclined to be in favor.
And just to remind everyone, because of the fact that there are 5 of us, we do need a 4-person vote to have this work. I think last time I shared that I could be persuaded either way. And first of all, I want to thank the applicants for coming back and providing us with the information that would allow us to look more carefully at this. I think I expressed my concern that the pictures weren't descriptive enough. We didn't have really any idea of a comparison. I look at it and I say the pictures I think are in keeping. The percentage coverage was never anything that really bothered me a whole lot because I did share our policy with everyone that was at our meeting last time. And I think as Scott was saying, part of it is the bulk. And I remember when we developed this policy, it was Patty that said that sometimes the architectural features will sometimes modify the bulk of a building. And interestingly enough here, I think the changes do that. I would also say for me, as Scott said, being in a situation where you cannot have a basement can be very difficult. I think the trade-off is you get rid of the sheds in the back, which you've proposed, all these little structures, and you come up with this, and the fact that you had an immediate abutter that came out and spoke for you, you have another neighbor that has come out and spoken for you, I'm inclined to go along with this. So, and again, I think not that we can ever restrict that the clutter not be there in the, or that the motorcycle gets put somewhere. That's never going to happen. But I think this makes sense. So, unless the board wants additional information, I just wanted to get a sense of where the board was so that you'd know. I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close.
Second.
All right. Mr. Zelinski, Mr. Haddad, all those in favor of closing this hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. All right, a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve application 59-12 for Diane Sands.
I'll second it.
All right, Mrs. Favuli, Mr. Zelinski. And let's talk about our conditions and our findings.
Plans as presented.
As submitted,
It's
plans as submitted
Submitted
on
on
September 18, 2012.
It says 17th.
There's two different dates. The plot plan is the 18th, and the other one is the 17th.
Yes.
I'll look at that.
All existing sheds and yard
Outbuildings
outbuildings are to be removed.
to be removed. The storage to be above the garage to be unfinished and unheated.
Yes.
Maximum bedrooms, I think it's 4.
We need is, what do
An
they call it?
as-built.
As-built.
Absolutely.
Okay. And, Sri, any other conditions that,
3-bedroom?
I think it's 4, isn't it?
You've got the plan. I'm sorry, I don't.
That was 3, forgive me, 3-bedroom. Thank you, Pat. All right. And,
I think you got it all.
yeah, it is, in terms of findings, in keeping with the neighborhood, not substantially more detrimental. Our usual 216 standard findings.
And the finding on the return of plants received by Hunters.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay. So again, thank you very much for your participation and your help with the board in coming to this conclusion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
4 in favor, 1 opposed.
Thank you.
All right, good luck with that project. All right. Our next application, which is also a continuation, is for Paul and Barbara Nazaro. And this again there was testimony heard at our last meeting on August 23rd. And I believe we have an additional representative, so good evening, Ms. Salmon. And just as you're getting ready, when we did leave off on this, again, we had a healthy discussion with the applicant and the board, and I think one of the issues, among others, but one of the significant issues was the issue of hardship related to the alteration of the land. So good evening, Ms. Salmon.
Good evening, Mr. McNamara and members of the board. I do represent the applicants, Paul and Barbara Nazaro, along with Attorney Brian Wall, who presented the case to you at the last meeting. Mr. Wall cannot be here tonight, and neither can the Nazaros. A week ago, I submitted to the board on behalf of the Nazaros a lengthy letter that included a number of exhibits and provided the board with much new information that I think changes the nature of this case significantly. I was present at the last meeting, but listening only with one ear because I wasn't involved at the time. But I have had an opportunity to review the minutes of that meeting and, of course, have discussions with others. And I know that a key issue was the standard for a special permit to install fill in the flood zone. The applicant represented that around 900 cubic yards of fill was involved. Michael McGrath, representing an abutter, thought the figure was 35% or so greater than that. In response to the concerns and to the issue regarding the fill, special permit, the plans were changed significantly. The house was lowered a bit, and the driveway was redesigned so that the amount of fill involved outside of the house in the flood zone is about 350 cubic yards. There will be some 90 or so cubic yards that will be under the garage, just to have the garage level be right. There seems to be some confusion from the minutes of the meeting as to the following fact. The house itself is not being elevated. Fill is not being installed to then put the house at a higher level on the lot, as the chairman thought at one time during the meeting. The lower grade of the house is within an inch or two of the lower level of the existing house. So the purpose of the fill is to even the driveway accessing the garage space, and then just to bring the garage up to an appropriate level. In any case, because of the reduction in fill, and after review of the revised plans by the building department, the Falmouth Building Commissioner determined that a special permit is not required under Section 240-85 because the amount of fill and the nature of the fill and its purpose on this plan is simply incidental to the construction of the house and construction of a driveway. I have submitted to you his determination, his written determination to that effect. A special permit is not required. The standard of hardship that goes along with that particular special permit, but not special permits generally, no longer applies. I have asked that the board allow the withdrawal of that aspect of the application that concerns the fill, because a special permit is not required for that purpose. Therefore, this proceeding continues as a Section 240-3 proceeding for the change, the reconstruction of a pre-existing non-conforming structure, and actually there are more than one pre-existing non-conforming structure on the lot, and the replacement of those structures by a single-family house with garage incorporated in the house that is not substantially more detrimental than the existing nonconformities. In fact, it is a substantial improvement over the existing conditions. But the Board of Appeals standard for 240-3 is whether the proposed structure and use of the property will be substantially more detrimental than the existing nonconformance to the neighborhood, and that is the standard. Now, as you make that determination, I'm sure you will take into account the fact that we have submitted 8 letters from residents of the street in support of this project, and they are thoughtful letters that explain their reasons for their support. I would also ask you, of course, to take into account that between the last meeting and this time, the Conservation Commission has issued an order of conditions approving the project even before the plans were revised to significantly reduce the fill. The decision of the Conservation Commission allows up to 900 cubic yards of fill, the amount that Mr. Borselli indicated was required. And in fact, the amount of fill will be less than half of that amount. The nonconformance that will continue in this case, and I believe the only nonconformance, is that the structure will be within 50 feet of the 3-foot contour of Eel Pond. Presently, the structure, which is open deck but covered deck for almost the 3/4 of the distance out from the house, presently that is 28.6 feet from the 3-foot contour, and the proposed structure will be 30 feet from the proposed structure. The house part of the, that is the foundation, the enclosed portion of the house, will be 40 feet away from the 3-foot contour. And the buffer area in accordance with the requirements of the Conservation Commission, will be expanded and enhanced by this project. The Conservation Commission is requiring that there be a land management plan. We've provided in the correspondence I submitted a week ago the details of that plan, a copy of the report, and a copy of the landscaping plan. The Falmouth Conservation Commission has a justly deserved reputation for being exacting and in its protection of the wetlands. And they have approved this project, and again, with even more fill than is now proposed. We will go back to the Conservation Commission to get a revised order as needed, so that, of course, the plans which we expect this board will approve will conform to plans that will be approved by the Conservation Commission. Now, I have not gone through all the details of the correspondence that I submitted and all of the materials that I provided to you, because I presume that you've all read what I submitted to the board and that you're familiar with this project. The height of the house is conforming. The lot coverage is only around 10% by structures. Everything about this project meets the standards of the Board of Appeals, except for the location of the house, I believe. And it is not substantially more detrimental. It is true, the enclosed portion of the house, the foundation wall itself, does not meet the 50-foot setback, but we have a non-conforming structure. The point is, what is detrimental? What is substantially detrimental about that adjustment of the nonconformance? And the answer is nothing. The answer is nothing. The Conservation Commission's approval of the project supports that conclusion. But on the other hand, there are all the benefits that we've described that are associated with this project. Now, I've already mentioned the enhanced buffer. We are removing nonconforming structures in the front yard. The septic system is going to be upgraded. The property will become more valuable on the tax rolls of the town, et cetera, et cetera. The neighborhood, except for one abutter, is solidly in support of this project. I know that at the last hearing, Mr. Zielinski said, well, the neighbors oppose, we should take that into account. Yes, take it into account. But a view from the neighbor's property is not the neighborhood view. That should be considered. In fact, the neighbor from his house has no view now over the house that exists and over the so-called guest house that will be removed. And an argument has been made, and it seems correct, that the views from that property will in fact be enhanced. We have demonstrated with cross-section on the plan that drainage will not impact adversely any neighbor. So this project is in fact a smaller house than other houses that have been built along this street, along the pond. So we've given you all sorts of reasons why this project is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood or to the town than what exists today, and in fact would be an improvement. I have a letter I'd like to submit. This is from Brad Broderick, who's here tonight. And it is another letter in support. But Brad is the prospective builder of this new house. He's a well-respected builder in town. He says, I'll be working with the Nazzaros on building their new home. We've always taken care of the sites we've worked on, and will continue to do so. This project is modest in comparison to others I've built in the neighborhood, and a great improvement to what presently exists because of energy efficiency, design, and all the outdated code issues that will be improved upon. The amount of fill that is needed is incidental to the construction of the home and is customary for any similar project, whether in a flood zone or not. So this is another way.
Thank you.
Mr. Borselli, who of course is here with me, and I would be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thanks, Bob. We'll start with any new information in the file.
There are 12 letters of support from the neighborhood. Carolyn West Cover, Richard Lambert, David Holmes, Michael Faulkner, Alan Willis, Jane Rigoli, Michael Rigoli, Glenn and Ellen Schleicher, Mark McAvoy, William and Joanne Gilbrook, Megan Faulkner. Mark McAvoy put it in twice, he must be really,
We didn't double count them, did we?
no,
Okay.
obviously the Nazzaros, so there's quite a few in here.
Okay.
If
And
anybody
nothing
wants
else?
no, we do have the conservation approval,
Right.
and that's it.
Okay. All right, let's follow up with some questions. Scott, do you want to start first?
Sure. Mr. Ahmed, you failed to mention the second part of the hardship testimony that we heard at the prior meeting. The board had expressed some interest in possibly moving this house back.
Mr. Zelinski, can I address that?
If I can, just for a moment. If I can, just for the board, and I should have probably done this, given the fact that no doubt the board will act upon the request to remove that portion of the application that's 240-80 through 83 plus 86, that's, no longer do we have to address hardship because the fill matter is not before us.
But there was testimony that the placement of the house created a hardship, which has nothing to do with the fill in the front. I think it's a valid question, Mr. Chairman, and I'd appreciate it if I could get an answer.
Well, no, I'm gonna reel you in just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because this is now just a pre-existing non-conforming structure issue that never requires hardship. I think the only test is, and as Mr. Ahmed said, is whether or not it's substantially more detrimental.
Okay.
So I think because of the building commissioner's determination, we know, even though there's minor fill, now, the board may feel, and if you want to reword your question in terms of looking at whether it's substantially more detrimental in the current location, go that route, but the issue of hardship is really with that withdrawal no longer before us. So I apologize for stepping in, but I don't want us to get too far afield in a debate that way, so I
Then
apologize.
I withdraw. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more questions?
Nope.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Tricia?
No, I don't have anything. I think now that the fill issue is, I think that was my major concern.
Patty?
Is there a complete concrete wall foundations around all sides of this structure?
Well, actually, it has openings to comply with flood requirements so that water can go into the basement and flow out. Of course, we'll comply with the flood regulations, and the lower level space, which will be below the flood elevation, cannot be habitable space.
The existing house, the lower floor, this, what we're calling the basement, it's habitable. I mean, it has.
There is habitable space in it, yes. So
It
that's
has
actually
rooms and
that's a
stuff.
nonconformance. That is actually a health and safety issue. And the same applies with respect to the next door guest house. I call it a guest house,
Yes,
recognizing
I know.
that it can only be used as bedrooms, not as a dwelling with a kitchen. But those are both non-conforming to the flood zone regulations. This house, of course, will comply. Now, the lower level of the house, I thought you were going to ask, its present elevation is 6.26 feet, and the new house is an inch different,
Yeah, I think-
6.33 feet. So it really it starts at the same place.
In the existing house, above this lower level is only one floor, correct?
No, the existing house, yes,
Yes.
correct.
Whereas this house has how many floors above the,
It has 2 floors above the two habitable floors with conforming to height regulations and the height of the house measured from natural grade, not measured from the higher grade because of a couple of feet of fill outside the front of the house, will be, I think it's 32.7 feet. Compared to 35 feet, which is a lot.
however, on the plans, somewhere says the actual elevation to the top of the highest point will be 42.
Measured from sea level, no, I guess that would be measured from the depressed level down to the water right. So, but, no, it's not that much. That would be from sea level. That's right. That's from sea level.
Oh, it says, it does say, it says 42 would be what would be allowed for the maximum ridge elevation. The proposed ridge elevation is 40.
That sounds right.
So that sounds right.
That's right.
Whereas the existing elevation, the existing house elevation is like,
In his testimony at the last meeting, Mr. Borselli estimated it was about 7 feet below that. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think the point is that it doesn't affect any views because you can't view over the existing house now, and it's not substantially more detrimental to build a house to a level that is lower than the height that's allowed.
the views of the neighbor will not be more impacted?
We believe that absolutely. Now, that's, of course, a subjective
All right.
conclusion, but I believe that the Mr. Borselli would agree and testify that from the present house on the lot to the north, one cannot see over the existing house. But that is not a criteria for your action. It is not a criteria under the zoning bylaw. One has a right to build a house to a certain height. And neighborhood views are one thing. But this neighbor's view is not being affected adversely by this. In fact, I was testified previously, and one can see it on the, if you're on the lot, that when you remove all the existing structures and just build the structure that's proposed, there will be new views from the neighboring property, which will be an enhancement. But that's sort of irrelevant.
It's all,
Okay, thanks. David?
Just one question regarding the fill. You've mentioned it'll be 350 cubic yards
Yeah.
plus an additional 90 at the garage?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
right.
That's it for me, thanks.
Sari, any questions? No. All right. We'll start with those who might be opposed to the application. Michael, are you speaking tonight?
Yes, today I delivered a copy of a,
Michael, just for the record?
for the record, my name is Michael McGrath. I'm a registered engineer professional engineer. I represent James Pavlin. I wanted to say that I delivered to the Board of Appeals a copy of an appeal filed by the, of the order of conditions under the State Wetlands Protection Act. It was prepared by Nutter, McClellan, and Fitch, and I delivered that this afternoon.
I'm sorry I missed that, my apologies.
The plan is substantially changed and much different than what was circulated when the board asked for referrals, so I don't know if the board's referral process is being honored because this is a substantial change. The Mr. Pavlin will testify that he does have a view, and he is very bothered by the bulk of this structure that's in front of his view. And I think it's more appropriate to listen to his testimony than speculative testimony from anyone else. Mr. Pavlin, could you come up and talk about your view?
Michael, if I could bring up Mr. Pavlin, thank you.
Well, I am James Pavlin. I think we met before. My impression is that some figures are thrown right in the air, and I would like to see some topographic correct elevations of the level of the house now and the level of the house that is proposed. From what I hear, the new house will be, first floor, will be 18 inches higher. And of course, I understand this is to gain the view. Now here comes the view, which they tell me is taboo in the Board of Appeal. And if the abutter, the new abutter, wants complete view and take away my view, then I have right to talk about view too. The way the house is proposed, I would lose all the view that they are gaining. Now, this is not good for me. Another problem is the proximity of the house to my border. The present house is 20 feet away. They were very natural, and the level of the present house from the sea was 6.3 feet on all four corners. On the left side, facing my boundary, they elevated to 95, I believe, the level about 3 feet, so that they could drive on the left side of the house, and they built short steps, so it was easier to go to the house. But that was filled in, which you can see if you just visited the area. Now, there is 20 feet between the garage and my boundary. There is a gentle drainage of water and it's leveled. They are coming closer 10 feet, so therefore they restrict the water flow in half, because the elevation on my side goes up. So it's obvious the velocity will increase and will erode also portion of my land. So the third thing is that there is area where I have my patio and at least some privacy now. And if they put the garage right in my mouth, I lose even that. So I lose view and I lose privacy. And they gain everything by manipulating the heights and filling certain area. Now, I don't know what else to say.
We'll take it into consideration.
Excuse me?
We'll take it all into consideration, Mr. Pavlin.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
You bet. Michael.
During the Conservation Commission hearings, there was, on the northeasterly, in the area northeasterly of the proposed house, there's a fenced-in area that was labeled something like kennel, and they said they'd take that off. They might have taken off the label, but there's still a fenced area that's in that area, and we think it's inappropriate if that's a place for a dog to be on Mr. Pavlin's side.
All right, anyone else in opposition on this particular application? Anyone here in favor? I know you are. I'll give you just a second. Anyone with any general questions or comments? All right, Bob, I know you probably want to respond to some of the things that were said.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The height of the proposed house, at least the height of the first floor, is not 18 inches higher than the height of the present first floor above the flood elevation. As I stated in my correspondence, the existing level, that's the existing second level, is 13.94 NGVD, and the proposed house has been lowered to 14.75 feet. So it is approximately 8 to 9 inches higher. It's not to create a better view, because the view from the present deck is terrific and doesn't need to be improved upon. It's in order that with the new construction, you're able to walk underneath the house into the storage area without it having to duck your head. And that is the reason. Brad Broderick might have a comment on that. It's not to increase the view. It has a practical, important purpose. And it conforms to the height regulations. Now, Mr. Pavlin is concerned about the location of the proposed garage. Here's the point that he's concerned about being 10 feet away from his property line. It is a corner, it's the closest point, and it is an uninhabited garage. You know, it's a quiet location right at this point. But it conforms to the setback, to the 10-foot setback requirement. It's too bad it's closer to his property from his point of view, but it is not in any way a consideration for the Board of Appeals to take into account that the house in this location is 10 feet from his line. Mr. Pavlin does not have a view easement across his property. And we maintain again that his view will not be adversely impacted by this location. So we're glad to hear he's concerned about the effect on his property. I'd like to read this letter and submit it and give you the letter I referred to earlier from Brad Broderick. This letter is from David Holmes of Eel River Road. He gave it to me earlier tonight, but he couldn't stay. He asked me to read this to the board. To the board, I have been following the issues regarding the application for the building of a house at 62 Eel River Road by the Nazaro family. I was initially surprised to find that one of the residents on Eel River Road was in opposition to this project. It is my understanding that the person in opposition was concerned that the new house would impact the, quote, pristine quality of the area, close quote. This was concerning to me that a resident of this wonderful road would think that a new house that will replace several outdated and deteriorating dwellings that are all tied into a failed septic system would impact the pristine quality of the area. This makes no logical sense to me. How can updating a waterfront property to the new and extremely strict rules and regulations enforced by Concom possibly make the area worse than it currently is? The answer is it will not. In the 6 years that I have been a resident of Falmouth, I have seen 5 new houses built along Eel River Road. I believe that I am correct that none of these houses have had any opposition from any of the residents of the road. If you travel the road, you will find a mix of well-cared-for new and older homes, with the exception of one house that has several large dilapidated boats in the front yard, 55-gallon drums strewn about, small boats upside down in the marsh, and a host of many other, if nothing else but eyesores about the property. Until this past week, I had no idea who owned the house that is out of sorts on this beautiful road. I was surprised to find out that the owner of this less than pristine property is the neighbor, Mr. Pavlin, the person that is in opposition.
Bob, I'm not going to let you go further.
Okay, I'll just
One of the
submit
things
them.
that I've always asked for is that we be respectful here, and that crosses the line, so thank you very much. All right. Anything else, Bob?
Mr. McGrath referred to the filing of an appeal of the Conservation Commission decision, and I'd remind the board that our zoning bylaw specifically says that the board will consider referrals from the Conservation Commission, and at least in section 24085 specifically says we'll consider, although that doesn't apply for a special permit in this case, it does say that in determining if impact on fill, consider the referral of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. It does not talk about appeals or some other body. You have a decision of the Conservation Commission, and that is, in effect, the referral to you at this time. And we have already discussed the fact that there will be no drainage going from the Nazaro property onto the Pavlin property. That's clear from the topography, but it's clear also from the plans, and you have a cross-section on the plans that were prepared by Borselli and submitted. A condition in a Board of Appeals decision that there be no runoff from the Nazaro property onto the Pavlin property, and that the flow of water from the Pavlin property onto the Nazaro property not be interrupted, would be perfectly fine. I'd also point out that the fence that was shown on a plan and referred to by Mr. McGrath is, in fact, not going to be installed. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments from the public? Any other questions from the board? Suri, anything?
No.
Okay.
I just have one question of
Mr.
Mr.
McGrath.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Let's go right ahead.
Michael to go
No, you
first?
start.
I have a question for Mr.
Pavlin.
Pavlin, thank you.
Hearing.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Your house that's facing this proposed house, where your house is set, is
Yeah.
that, the side that's facing this way, are your bedrooms on that side, or is that your living area?
there are living area in the middle and the bedroom on the side. On
Okay.
each side.
On each side, okay, thank you, that's all I have.
You're welcome, but, all right.
Patty, you have another question?
Tell me about, is the chain link fence going to be installed or not?
This is to Bob, and Bob just said it was not going to be.
Is that what? The chain link fence is not going to be installed.
Correct.
And no, is there any fence going to be on that, right where that was located?
I'm going to ask Mike Borselli or Brad Broderick to respond to that.
Michael Boselli, Falmouth Engineering. There's no fences proposed as part of this application. There's an existing split rail fence that's been there forever.
And that's staying? Okay.
And I also point out that the Pavlin house is not up against the property line. It's some, I don't have the exact figure, but it's on plans that have been submitted to you, and it's 30 to 40 feet away and elevated quite a bit from the, this house location.
Michael McGrath, you have another comment? No? Okay. All right. All set? Board want to discuss this? Board have enough information? Ready to close?
I think we have enough information.
Is that a
Suppose we
motion?
close
that
the
you
hearing? Make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor of closing this hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. All right. What action would the board like to take?
I will make a motion to grant this application with the withdrawal of 240, and jump on me if I'm wrong, 240-80 through 83 and 240-86.
Correct.
So we're only granting it under 240-3.
40, 85 also, I believe.
And well, they've only got 80 through 83 and 86. They don't have 85 on here. So did we modify it to add 85?
No, we didn't. That's just the way the notice is written, sorry.
Yeah.
We've been discussing it.
Yeah, I know, no, go right ahead, that's
No,
what
because
I,
we'll-
Whatever the application says is fine.
okay,
Because that's what we need to follow.
all right.
Because we did discuss 240.
I thought we did, because I had wrote it down. 240, 85 A and B is what we talked about at the last meeting. I got up my
Right.
note here. All right, so we amended it. And that was a motion to grant it after the amendment.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, conditions and findings.
Okay. Per plan submitted September 13th, 2012, and August 16th, 2012.
Subject to the conditions of the Conservation
Conservation
Commission
Commission.
order conditions.
Yep,
As amended.
as amended. I'm looking at, if anybody else wants to look with me at these landscape plans here, I would like to see some more natural fencing put along this garage lot line.
What side of the property?
We're on the north,
Pardon me?
the north. Where it's marked proposed chain link, I would like to see a natural buffer of some evergreens of some sort. My feeling is this: if the abutters' bedrooms are facing this way, there's no definite measurements on this plan for us to go by how far his house is. It could be 20 feet away, so we've only got a difference of 30 feet difference. If cars are backing in and out of there at night, if they decide to drive in their driveway and back into the garage, which many people do, you're gonna have lights going in the abutters' sleeping accommodations. It's just an idea, it really bothers me
What's
as.
the changing of the elevations there from just above the property line to just below the property line? Are we talking steep grades? Is it going to make a difference?
Don't know really,
This
to
is
be honest
bedrooms
with
on
you.
the first
Will the
Right.
installation of those cause any effective drainage from his property to yours?
That I can't answer.
Do you want to suggest a landscaping plan that they can discuss and bring back to the board?
Yeah, well, I hear Matt is thinking that's not a good idea, but.
Well, my reaction to it is that, again, this became a much more simplified application, being pre-existing non-conforming. It's a raise and reconstruct. In many ways, there are so many beneficial things that come out of this in terms of the removal of non-complying and non-conforming structures. And Mr. Pevin, the hearing's been closed, so it's the board that's just discussing it now, okay? Thank you. And we do a lot of pre-existing non-conforming structures, and we don't necessarily put in vegetative barriers. And at least when I was out at the site, it's a nice rolling kind of landscape that to me it would look kind of altered and strange to have a row of buffered hedges. I think we see houses that are a whole lot closer than this in terms of setbacks and property. So, I happen to disagree with that.
I agree with you on everything. Getting rid of all the stuff that's on that lot is a huge, huge, huge improvement. Most of the projects that we do with lot lines and buildings that are closer than this are standard straight shot in the driveway with your headlights straight into the house. This is a situation where the garage is at an angle facing the abutters. Most of the time, the garage is facing the street, so any lights coming in and out are not gonna be an interference to an abutter. I think lights coming in and out of this is gonna be, that's just my feeling.
Sorry.
My only
Yeah,
concern
go ahead.
with it, number one, is I agree with how it's going to interrupt the natural landscape, but also, depending on what type of land, and that's why I suggested the board is thinking about something like this, to have them come up with a landscape plan, because if they put something like the sport's been done with a few times as arborvitae's, that's gonna impact his view once they
True.
grow.
True.
So
Also,
if the board
Sri,
is
isn't this
thinking
still in
about
the
it-
Conservation Commission area too?
Depending on how far you want them to go, conservation will have a determination as well. And we don't have the full
Yeah,
revised
it's really hard to.
plans now that there's a lack of fill, so.
Well, somebody else can jump in, that's just,
That's just two reactions.
You know,
to it,
that's
so.
just, I have no problem, I think it's a
I'm just
great
saying that
project.
you really need a clear picture of the elevations and how the grade does change from property to property right
Mhm.
there, and especially up in that area.
Right.
Well, before we go
So-
through the whole list of conditions that we might do, how does the board feel about this proposed condition in terms of putting in some kind of natural buffer in that area?
I don't feel they need it.
I think even though views don't count, a neighbor's views don't count, if you block that, all his first floor view will be taken away. If you mitigate that with bushes on that property line, he's already stated through testimony that his bedrooms and his living area are on that side, and I take it they're on the first floor. It'll take everything from those
Okay.
rooms away from him.
Okay,
I think so.
all right, that's fine.
Okay. Other conditions. Again, we've got the per plans, which includes the removal of those structures.
We're gonna limit the
Phil?
bedrooms based on the septic and everything. Is that something that you're concerned about or not?
Yeah.
They obviously can't have habitable space below.
Right.
It's 4
And
bedrooms.
what is the maximum of the bedrooms that we have? I'm sorry.
I believe it's 4.
Four.
I'm sorry I didn't bring my plan. but-
All right, so
Four.
maximum of 4 bedrooms. There's been a comment about drainage, and when we were out at the site, if you remember correctly, there appeared to be drainage issues on the other side, so I'd hate to have a new creation of drainage issues. So even though the plans are there, I think perhaps it would be better as a finding that it's been stated that there would be no infiltration or drainage to any of the abutting
Okay,
properties.
I
that
think
would be
that's a
better
good
as a
finding.
Okay.
Because you've already listed it as per plans and the drainage and the everything.
I can't think of any other conditions.
Well, condition number 1 will say per plans, which will include the height,
Right,
lot coverage, setback, so those are already covered.
Right.
Already
So I
on
think-
here.
I
right.
think you may have it.
So
all.
I think we do. And in terms of the findings, and just sort of as we think through these findings, again, it is a substantially more detrimental issue. Views are always taken into consideration by this board. However, the standard is, under 216, the impact on the neighborhood visual character, including views and vistas. So it's the composite. It's not just a particular person.
Street view.
Right, but it's taking all of that into consideration.
A lot less nonconformities.
Yeah, it is such an improvement in terms of not only the structure, but in terms of the elimination of those non-conforming structures in the front yard, and again, what appears to be a non-complying structure in terms of the guest house. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's an improvement for the whole neighborhood.
absolutely.
Did you see a slight improvement on the setback to the 3-foot contour line?
Yes, there is.
There's a
In
10
fact, there
10
was,
I think it's
2.5 feet,
No.
foot and a half.
That's a non-conforming as well, so
Right.
that's an improvement.
28.6 to 30.
for the foundation.
Okay. All right,
You
anything?
have finding as well that it's past conservation, but it will be going back as revised due to the fill,
Yep.
or lack of fill, excuse me.
Right. And that we are incorporating whatever decision Conservation Commission comes up based on.
Throw it out.
As-built?
For that setback.
Question.
You got that 10-foot setback, I think that's a good idea.
The building department requires an as-built, but I like this board when they make those concerns, that they include all the decks, everything, so prior to the final sign-off,
Okay.
the as-built, just so, because, during construction, the grades change,
Yeah.
the more steps may be, the lot coverage may be amended.
Mhm.
This,
Okay. All right.
Right, because that's 22.7 right now.
And then our typical 216 findings, and I think we will be all set. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. All right, thank you again, everyone, for your participation in helping us reach that decision. And Mr. Foreman is now going to join us, and I meant to acknowledge, and I apologize, David Braga from the Board of Selectmen, who's here, and it's always great to see you, David, as a representative of the board. All right, our next, Patty, you want to pass those down? Our next application is a new application, and it's 7080-12 for, thank you, T-Ticket Highway. I was going to say highway.
T-Ticket
LLC.
And we are going to ask the clerk to read it into the record.
I made a little mistake on it, didn't
No, I don't think you did.
I? 780-12?
Application 80-12, being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that 212 T-Ticket LLC of East Falmouth, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a modification of the previous special permit pursuant to Sections 243 and 240-51B3 of the Code of Falmouth to allow the sale of no more than 7 automobiles at one time on property located at 212 T-Ticket Highway. Publication dates August 28th and September 4th, 2012. And we do have a request for a continuation. There was a traveling situation, he's not able to attend.
All right, so there's been a suggestion to continue this to October 18th at 6:30 PM.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Zelinski, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mrs. Johnson, all those in favor of continuing this hearing to October 18th at 6:30 PM, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A unanimous vote. All right. Our next application is 781, no, it's 81-12 for Peter Bennett.
Application 81-12, being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Peter Bennett of Osterville, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for special permit pursuant to Sections 243, 240-68A8 of the Code of Falmouth to raise and reconstruct a pre-existing non-conforming accessory structure in the front yard on property located at 344 Quistit Ave, Woods Hole, Mass. Publication dates August 28th and September 4th, 2012.
That is Michael Berselli, and I believe he does, is it not?
Yes,
It is Michael Berselli.
I believe he does not know that the other one's going to be continued. I believe he's out in the hall.
Well, I make a motion that we just take a 5-minute break. Could we do that?
Yes, we certainly
And
could. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say
And
aye.
I'll tell them while I go back.
All right, 5 minutes. All right, we're all back. So we're about to read in application 81-12 to the record for Peter Bennett.
I read that.
Did you read it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? All right, then we're up to you, Mr. Roselli. We lost you there for a minute. So. All right.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, my name is Michael Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant Peter Bennett. Mr. Bennett has applied for a special permit in accordance with Section 240-3 and 240-68A8 of the Falmouth zoning bylaws, and he's asking permission to modify a pre-existing non-conforming structure on his property. The property is located at 344 Quistit Ave. The general shape and configuration of the lot is such that if you look at the plan in the lower left-hand corner, there's a key map that shows that the lot has a irregular shape until you get to the far west side of the lot where it opens up in the area where the existing single-family dwelling is, which fronts on Quistit Harbor, and the existing accessory structure, which is just east or northeast of the house. So that larger area of the lot is shown here. There's an existing single-family dwelling on the property, and there's an existing accessory structure shown on this plan in a screened back line type. You could probably see it closer on the plans that you have. There's two nonconformities on the property at the moment. The first is why we're here, and that is an accessory structure in a front yard, and we're hoping to get permission to modify that accessory structure in a front yard. It is in a front yard because it's between the house and the street, even though the lot is irregularly shaped and long and narrow. So it is in a front yard, but it's certainly more than 50 feet from the street. The other nonconformity is a pre-existing nonconforming setback with the existing single-family dwelling. It is currently only set back 35 feet from, in this case, the 4-foot contour, because we're on the Buzzards Bay tidal area. The requirement is for 50 feet, and we're only set back 35. However, there's no work proposed on the existing single-family dwelling. I only point that out to show you the nonconformities that exist on the property. So the project is to raise the existing accessory structure and reconstruct it and improve on it such that it can be better utilized by the Bennett family and extended family. The current structure is more of a garage storage structure with a second-story sleeping area, and the hopes of the applicant are that this structure can be demolished and a new structure that has up-to-date building standards, building codes, more comfortable to the family, and it's basically a place for the grandchildren and the younger members of his family to sleep, playroom, etc. So we, prior to making the application, had a couple of different meetings with Sari, with the architect, to make sure that we design this in conformance with the general policies of the board with regard to the size of the structure relative, the space that's proposed to be used as the sleeping quarters on the second story are less than 30% of the overall floor area of the existing house and the existing accessory structure. So the architect designed it to make sure that we met those standards. There's a single bedroom in that structure. Today, on the second story, there'll be a single bedroom in the new structure, if it's approved, on the second story. The current septic system is substandard, and it's located between the two structures. It services both buildings, and as part of the project, we're also proposing to upgrade the septic system to a new Title V septic system with a new leaching facility located further away to the east of both structures. The topography is such that there'll be a holding tank with a pump chamber in this location, and pipes will feed to that, and then they'll be pumping by gravity to the leaching field. We have also taken significant steps to improve other existing conditions on the property, including removal of a significant portion of impervious surfaces that exist as a paved driveway. There's currently a paved driveway that comes down and wraps around into this location. Much of that is proposed to be removed and then replanted with grass. The Conservation Commission review resulted in the addition of additional cedar trees to help mitigate for 2 trees that need to be cut as part of the project. In fact, the Conservation Commission 2 weeks ago were presented with final revised plans that met all of their issues and concerns that they had raised at their initial public hearing. They closed the hearing 2 weeks ago. We're confident that we're going to receive a favorable decision from them in the very near future. The accessory structure has been designed to meet the height requirements for an accessory structure, not higher than 18 feet and not more than 1.5 stories. And I submitted a cover letter that goes through the general standards found at 240-216, and we believe that the project does not result in any further substantial detrimental impact on the neighborhood. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Michael. We'll review the file.
Water, there's a 1-inch existing service meter is in a pit as stated, nothing from planning, nothing from natural resources. Board of Health, no objections so long as the proposed septic system upgrade includes capacity for additional sleeping rooms on the 2nd floor of the accessory structure. Engineering, no impact on public ways. If there's any alterations, public utilities would require permission. Notice of intent from Concom, and we have a copy of that. That's it. There's no correspondence.
Okay. David, do you want to start us out with questions?
Sure. How are you, Mike?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Bedrooms in the existing primary dwelling?
3.
And you said there was 1 in...
1 in the accessory.
And how many will there be in the accessory?
In the new accessory, there'll be 1.
So there'll still be 4.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you're eliminating some of that parking area.
Yes. There's a significant paved area on the plan, and I believe that I've noted in the lot coverage calculations that the existing lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking currently is 23.5%. Your bylaw allows 40. The new resulting lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking will be 20%. So although we do currently meet the standard, we're making an effort to even reduce it further by another 3.5%. There's a significant amount of pavement and a potential for runoff from that pavement.
Will you have more parking area with your new design?
Yes, and we've actually taken that into account in the calculations. It is still parking, but we're proposing it to be gravel. We're basically reconfiguring this so it's more usable, so that there can be cars parked in this location. They currently park here, but it's not, the geometry really doesn't lend itself, and it's awkward at best to park there. So it'll be reconfigured, and there'll be gravel instead of pavement in the part that has to be expanded.
And that beach down below, is that deeded beach rights?
This beach,
Yeah, that's,
the property owns to mean high water, so it's private.
private to
To
Bennett's?
To the property owner, yes.
Just to the Bennett's?
Yes.
The reason I asked, because, like you said, when I went in there, it was tough turning around, so when you mentioned the extended family, you had another bedroom, people get older, more cars.
And that's actually in the thinking, and it's not so much they're concerned about a lot of additional cars, but the way that they operate now, the way that the cars have to park, it's hard to turn around, and if they have any more than the typical 2 or 3 cars, it becomes difficult. On a weekend, for instance, it gets difficult to manage the parking of the cars. There may be 4 or 5 cars there on a weekend.
That's it for now, thanks.
Scott?
I think I'm good right now, thank you.
Tricia?
Michael, have you been in the garage?
Yes,
So you've seen the fact that the second floor is finished?
yes. It's finished.
Quasi.
If you define finished, it's finished in that it's not open studs. It has finished walls, and it's a little rustic, I guess would be a good word.
Okay, all right. Is it currently heated?
I don't believe so.
Okay. The new building is heated?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's being built for year-round use?
It has the potential for year-round use, yes.
All right. Does it have a basement? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
The new building is proposed to have a basement,
Yes, okay. What's going to be in the basement?
just storage only,
Storage.
and utilities like heating.
Okay. The Board of Health his comment says, no objections as long as the proposed septic system upgrade includes capacity for the additional sleeping room on the second floor of the accessory structure.
Makes some sense.
So he's counting this loft as a second bedroom. Unless I'm understanding it as capacity for the additional sleeping room on the second floor.
I think that Mr. Kerrigan isn't under the impression that there's a bedroom in that building.
I think he might be, because he wrote something and then erased it and wrote on top of it, and the second floor. So to me, with his comment, it's going from a one-bedroom rustic garage to a two-bedroom dwelling. That's just my interpretation of it. And what about cooking facilities?
There will be no cooking facilities.
No cooking facilities?
And I can tell you, yes, if I could just follow back up on the bedroom
Yeah,
matter. I'm
sure.
happy to get a clarification if we need to, but
Okay.
I can tell you that the area on the second story, if you look at the existing conditions plan, it says on the second story, sleeping area.
Yep.
And then there's some storage, there's a closet. And then on lower level is garage space.
Sure.
And then if you look at the proposed second story, there's an area defined as loft. And then there's the balance of the area is open to below. So we're calling the loft a bedroom, just so that there's no question.
Okay, so it's two bedrooms then?
No?
There's a first floor bedroom and,
There's no first floor bedroom. The first floor is a garage only. I'm sorry, let me look.
no, the
Oh,
new one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
okay.
stand corrected.
All right.
I
No,
was
it's hard
looking-
when you're going from one page to the
Right.
next.
The first floor has a bedroom, the second story has a loft,
Okay,
and it's open to below. So that loft area does not meet the definition of a bedroom.
I think you need to clarify with the Board of Health, because that's what he's calling it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I believe that if you read Title V, and I never had a discussion with David because I thought it was fairly straightforward. The loft area, in my mind, doesn't meet the definition of a bedroom.
Okay,
If for some reason I'm not able to persuade him,
yeah,
I don't know what that would mean to your deliberations if I made the septic system have enough capacity. But we would I could make the septic system, I don't agree with if that's his interpretation, but if I can't persuade him. I believe the simple solution would be to just make the septic system have more capacity. Unless there's some other reason that the board thinks I am now creating a nonconformity, and I don't think I would be. A further nonconformity.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you, Michael.
Ken?
So, current use is as a garage, correct?
Garage storage, like a lot of garages, there aren't usually cars in there, but there's a lot of stuff in there.
Right. But it is an
Yes.
accessory structure in that it's a garage.
And it has a sleeping area on the second floor.
There'll be no more garage.
Correct.
They're gonna completely raise the building?
Yes.
Why don't they just add on to the existing main house?
Well, for a couple of reasons. Well, not, the main reason is it's the land form, if you've been there, is topographically challenging, I guess is a good way to say it. There's a significant change in topography. The lot slopes down from this location down to this location. In fact, there's probably a change in grade of about over 10 feet. So it just would not, it wouldn't lend itself to being, the house being added onto for that reason. And architecturally and aesthetically, I don't think that the applicant really wants it that way.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. It's okay. So the accessory use, I guess, is as a guest house? Is that what you want to call it?
Accessory use is going to be guest sleeping quarters or extended family sleeping quarters, which is what it is now in storage.
Do you envision it being occupied year-round?
No. This is for the most part, a summer residence. That doesn't mean that someday it could be used year-round, but the current situation for the Bennetts is that they use it primarily during the summer. And then on different weekends, the population at the house varies. Some extended family visits, vacations.
How would they feel about a condition that it not be used on a year-round basis?
I don't think that he would want to be limited with that. I couldn't speak for him, but I don't think that he would want to be limited in that way.
I think at the moment that's it.
Patty?
Can you give me some history on that garage? Was it, when was it built? Did it have a special permit? Did it have a building permit?
I don't think I can give you all of that tonight. I can tell you just by my interviewing of Mr. Bennett and just by my observations that the structure has certainly been there in excess of 10 years. And it's certainly been there in excess of 30 or 40 years. I could do some research at the building department and try to see if building permits were ever granted for the construction of that structure. I would assume so, but I can't tell you tonight. I don't have that research with me. I can read the assessor's card at the moment. That's the best I can do. It says the property contains one family Cape Cod style built in 1937. That's describing only the existing primary structure. So I can tell you that the main house was built in 1937, and I'd have to get the balance of the description to give you more information about the accessory structure.
I'm just wondering whether it's, non-conforming pre-existing, or whether it has another classification.
Well, I can demonstrate to you in some way, but not tonight, but I can tell you that there's no doubt in my mind that it's pre-existing non-conforming. If by pre-existing non-conforming, we mean it's a structure that's been in existence for more than 10 years, and it's non-conforming because it's an accessory structure in the front yard.
In the front yard, you're considering Quistit?
Yes,
I mean, yeah,
Quistit Ave.
Quistit Ave. And there's going to be no parking along the side of the building where it was a garage. The parking is all back up there. And it's up the hill, so you're gonna have to remove dirt there to level it out, right?
There's pavement here.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a slope here. We're gonna have to do some regrading and expansion of the pavement gravel. In fact, all of this pavement is gonna be removed at the dock grade. It's gonna be converted to a crushed stone driveway. From here back will be paved.
Here back, and I don't quite understand the reasoning for that. Can you explain it to me again?
What, reasoning for what?
Why all the driveway and all the existing around the curve and everything is getting removed?
Well, what happens now is that the driveway that comes in,
Yeah.
they'll continue.
I've been-
This one sort of opens up into like an oblong shape. It isn't quite wide enough to meet today's bathroom standards and parking, you know? And then it wraps around and narrows back down,
Yeah,
almost like,
like it went to the other house.
turnaround or something. It doesn't have any real, there's no real rhyme or reason to the shape of it, so, but it's been like that forever, so they've dealt with it, but they also realized through their research that there's a better way. And the better way will be to just limit it to this area. They can park here, back out, drive out along here, and all of this excess pavement now has no real need. So they thought it best to just remove it and convert it to grass.
Do you show a walkway down to that other house?
Well, what I do show is I show a set of steps, because there's a little bit of grade change, a little bit of a small little retaining wall that's probably about
Yes.
2 or 3 feet
Yeah.
tall, and then they just walk along the grass. That's what they do today.
And where did you measure the natural contour to get the calculation for this
Took the average.
accessories?
Put the average grade on the street side of the house, of the street side of the structure. Existing grade. Which,
So is that front, right now it's open garage, what's that going to look like? It's not going to be concrete, is it?
this is all gonna be wood framed, we submitted.
Yeah, I know you submitted some plans, but it's hard, I just had a very hard time with these plans, trying to figure out what was and where was the garage that exists there now, and I'll have to confess. And I went down on my bike, so I didn't have the same problem the rest of you did with backing around. I was down there on my big vehicle.
This is what you'll see from the front, or
Front.
from this.
And how about from the right side elevation? That's the
The
next.
right side,
Is this next picture.
which is this.
So, right now, when you're there, it's all open underneath. And in that picture, the first part you don't show, look, are you gonna fill in front there? See where your thumb is on that, where the basement shows?
There'll be no fill, no. We're gonna
No,
match-
on that side, but the side, the right side, where the opening of where the shed garage opens up, or where where it's open, and you see all the junk in the
Mhm.
basement.
We're basically gonna maintain the existing grade on that side.
I couldn't have been looking at it
slight grade from front to back, so on this side where this porch is, there'll be a little bit more exposed
Okay,
structure, but that will be
Okay.
underneath this screen porch.
okay, all right. No wonder I had trouble. Okay.
Scott?
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Two quick ones. You had mentioned before that presently both structures are served by one septic system now?
Yeah, it's a substandard cesspool, I
Right,
believe.
where did you say that was?
Basically in between the two buildings.
Yeah.
right in this-
What is the manhole cover that comes directly off the existing building now? There's a manhole cover about,
Southwest of where you just pointed to.
it's on the plan here.
Blue dot,
This,
No,
No,
sorry.
if,
what, this?
no, off the garage. If you come off the front corner of the garage and follow the plumbing down from the top floor and come straight out, there's a metal manhole cover out in the parking lot.
It's on this one.
It's on this one here.
yeah.
So this has its own septic system?
Yes, I'm sorry. The existing accessory structure has a manhole that the plumbing goes into that manhole, and then it flows down to the area that I originally pointed to. So there's plumbing, it goes into this manhole, and then it's piped down, and there's something we don't really know. There's a cesspool in this area. This house goes to the cesspool. The accessory structure goes to this manhole and then goes to the cesspool.
Gravity feeds down.
Right.
Thank you. My other question is this a private right-of-way off of Quistit?
I believe it's shared, it is shared. It's shared with 344 and it's shared with 342, the abutters to the south, the first.
And is that private?
Yes.
Do you anticipate any adverse effects by construction equipment on that narrow right-of-way?
No. There'll be a small excavator. We did a perk test here, and the machine walked in off of Quistit Ave. The driveway is, I see the chairman smiling about me, probably saying that the machine walked in, but they crawled the machine in off of
Right.
Quistit Ave, and there was no damage to
But there
anything.
will be cement mixes and everything
Well,
else
there'll
in
be,
there.
yes, but it's temporary. It's gonna be a few trips, typically.
No, I was just curious if you anticipated any
No.
adverse effect to the right-of-way itself.
I don't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ken?
If I'm reading the plans right, there's a gas fireplace.
Mhm.
Purpose of that is?
It's for heat, like secondary heat, and aesthetics. It's sort of like, when you're not heating the entire thing using the regular, standard system, this is something that you could have just to take the chill off the rooms, like at this time of year.
So obviously that means there's gas being supplied to the house.
There is existing gas, yes.
But no stove.
Absolutely not. And we would expect there to be your standard conditions about that.
Could cook weenies in the fireplace.
Well, I think it has a glass. I think it has a glass.
Roast a few hot dogs.
All right, Tricia?
Michael, the driveway, the designed width looks like it's 28 feet. What's the actual width of that driveway? Where you can actually physically drive. I'm just concerned that, I don't know if you're gonna get a cement truck down there, but that's their issue. But I'm more concerned about emergency access down here with fire equipment. I have a real concern with that.
Well,
Thing is, it exists now.
The question was the
Yes,
width,
width.
so let's get
Of
the
what?
answer to the question.
well, let's,
The actual drive.
can you point to the location, in this location?
Yeah, see where it's, right where your hand is, gravel drive. What's
Right.
the width of the gravel drive itself that you've got dotted on there?
This width varies from 10 to 12 feet.
Okay.
And
How many feet's a fire truck width-wise?
Less than
fire
eight.
truck's probably 8. So, we have a condition today on the site that that condition or concern exists today.
But we're adding more, I believe, more bedroom space to this property and enlarging the driveway, accommodating more vehicles, which equates to more people.
There's certainly, by doing this project, the potential, part of the rationale is to make it more accessible for the family. So there's certainly a possibility that people will be there on a more regular basis, and there may be more people there, you know. But the condition is pre-existing. I don't know that we could really do anything about it unless you think it's wise to widen the driveway.
Okay.
I don't know if you would get a referral from the fire department on that, but it's not like we're creating this hazard.
No, you're not creating it. No, I agree with you on that. You're just increasing the use of the property. Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Catch everyone's questions? The board's been very, very
Dave.
thorough, so, oh, David, you had another
Chris,
one. I apologize.
just hate to hop on the parking, but how many cars did you think would be in that parking area?
Well, we've designed it for
4? And you said,
on occasion, you might have visitors that get it up to 5 or 6, and they're gonna have to do the juggling act that we all have to do now and then.
but I think when you first, your earlier testimony, you're pretty much saying it's gonna be like a bunkhouse overflow type thing. So the heat just had a scratch in my head. But just one last thing, the stuff that's in the garage now, where do they anticipate putting all that?
The basement of the new structure.
And
They're
that-
gonna,
I mean, what's that, 6, 7, that,
it's gonna be standard height, yes. 7, I think it's 7'2". So it'll be full height basement. There's a bulkhead proposed. So the things that they now store in the garage area will now be stored in that lower level.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have one more from Ken.
So explain to me why it's necessary to completely raise this structure as opposed to remodel it?
Well, the current structure is, it doesn't meet any standards for building construction today. It's substandard framing. There's no insulation. It's really rough. It's in a state of disrepair. There's certainly some roof issues. Some of the siding is in a state of disrepair.
But those couldn't be addressed by remodeling and
Well, no, I mean.
partial reconstruction?
Well, when the architect looked at the property and looked at the condition, it just didn't, it was beyond the point where it was cost effective. It just didn't make sense. You could not realize the same type of structure by a renovation or just repairing the structure. Now, you would get into it to such a point that it became it made much more economic sense to just raise it and
Is the current structure being used for sleeping accommodation?
in the summer, yes, because they primarily use it in the summer. So grandchildren sleep.
Okay, good.
Suri?
Michael, you mentioned the meeting that we had, but you haven't explained how you came to the 30%. Can you explain that?
We calculated, the architects actually made measurements of all of the existing spaces within the primary dwelling, including first floor, second floor, basement, excluding areas that contain the utilities and heating system for the required distances. He measured the area of the accessory structure, first floor, second story, and came up with a total area of 1,980 square feet. And then he designed the accessory structure, so the second story, if you, the loft area and sleeping area had a total area of 497 square feet, which is actually only 25.1%, which is below the 30% that you have been using as a guide. So that's, I believe, all documented on the architectural plans.
Okay, sir. All right, Michael, if I can, the board's done such a thorough job, I don't have that many. But just to follow up on that one, you calculated only one of the floors, of 2 floors?
To come up with the existing
30
areas?
To come up with the 30%. You said you took the existing, close to 2,000 square feet, and calculated the second floor to be 480, or thereabouts, coming up to over 20%. But what about the first floor?
Of the existing structure?
No, the accessory. Can't be more than 30%.
Because it's garage space.
But the new one's not having garage space.
There's no garage space in it.
But the existing space,
Is,
and I recommended that he not count the garage space because it's used solely as a garage currently.
Right.
So he had to come up with the 30% existing, which is the second floor of the accessory structure and the main
Right.
building.
So
That's
let-
my understanding.
So let me ask this question then. What is the new accessory building, what's the percentage?
the new accessory building is 25.1%.
Counting both floors?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. What's the rental history on this property?
No rental history that I'm aware of whatsoever. And
Okay. And there would be no plans to rent this then in the future either?
not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. All right. Those are my only questions. Anything else from the board? Okay. Folks, you've been patiently waiting. Come on up and introduce yourself. Tell us if you have just general questions, if you're opposed, or you're in favor.
I'm not sure whether. Paul and Rita DeSalt, we're at 370 Quistit Avenue. Our property abuts this property.
Thanks for coming.
And so we were informed by the letter as to what was going on. We haven't seen a plan. We don't really understand what it is they're trying to do. We've been there about 13 years, and that building has been, we're talking about the building
garage.
out front, which was a
Right.
quote-unquote garage.
Yeah, it doesn't have any doors
It's
on
more
the
like
front.
an old barn
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
had a garage in a lower level. I mean, it hasn't been, it looks to us that it hadn't been inhabited in a long time. It's probably a very, very old building. There has been a lot of activity around there. And when they talk about the topography there, it's big holes and coming up from the beach, and we actually have beachfront as well. We have a 10-foot wide path from our house that goes right along the borders their property, right down onto the beach. So we're very familiar with their property. As far as on the north side, we're not as familiar with what's going on the south side because there's so many trees on the property, it's hard to really see. But there has been a lot of activity over there over the last few years around that garage. So I assume, they've been filling in and so on, and something's going to happen there. But we're not quite sure what it is, how this is being entered through through the first driveway, I guess. There is a driveway that goes into that property. It goes right by that house. So I was confused at first when I was looking at the map, trying to understand exactly what property we were talking about. Whether it was the guest house up front near the water or whether it was we weren't sure if it was even the boathouse that was down on the beach. It really didn't say in the letter what this was about. So we're here to learn and try to understand what it is they're trying to do or want to do with it. And at this point, we just don't seem to have enough information about it. As far as any impact goes, we'd have to, look at it, but we're concerned because of the activity on the grounds, and we have, you know, a very narrow area that comes with our property, which is, adds a lot of value to our property to have water access and a dock. So we are concerned about protecting that. And I'm not sure this has an impact or doesn't, because we haven't really had time to look at
Just
it.
point out to us where you are, which
Well,
property
I'm
you
not
are.
sure I really can understand this map.
Okay.
But this is the, there are two houses on this property, right? This is the beach down here?
Right, correct.
Okay, so is this their dock?
Yes.
Okay, so
The beach is right in that
we
area.
would be over, as I understand this map, we would be along this path right here,
Okay.
coming down. We're at
No, there's a
370, which
house.
should be out here, is that correct?
This
No.
property is also, it's called the Homestead, and it's also owned by the
Oh, okay, so I'm not really looking at the whole.
And this property is the first family, Charles, now informally Charles Street.
Yeah.
So this is the 344 Quistit Ave.
Yeah. So what is this building? Is this the,
That's the garage that's proposed to be,
If I can just get you both focused toward the board, okay? You have to speak at the microphone,
Okay.
one at a time, and you got to focus to us rather than have a conversation with yourselves, okay?
yeah, sure. I really don't understand this map.
Okay.
Someone's got to have to explain to me where our property is in relation to what's going on.
Mr. DeSalt, what number are you?
370.
370.
All right, if you come over here, I have a map, and it shows your house. Your house is right here. You're at 370.
Yep,
The pasture lot is in between your house.
okay. Yeah, this is
Okay.
the path that goes out.
There's
of
your
the
path.
water.
You're over here.
Yeah.
The subject that they're talking about is over here.
Okay,
so
so it's
the
not
path-
this,
No, the pasture lot is in between yours and the subject we're discussing,
Here it shows on this much better.
okay?
so it's not the.
You're
uh,
370,
We
this
notify
is
within
350.
300 feet.
It's not the carriage house or whatever it is. Structure up front.
Nope.
I don't know, because we just looked at this particular property.
I think you have it confused with the one in front of them on the right side.
Yep,
I think they're coming on a different property. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Not that.
This one's quite a ways on the right.
All right. Thank you both. Ma'am, did you have a comment on this project that you wanted to speak up about?
She's here for another issue.
Okay, all right. Let's have a conversation about this, because I heard Patty asking for additional information. If we are going to continue for additional information, let's have a discussion about this and see where we're going. So, do you want to start, Tricia?
Sure, I'll start. I have some great concern on this. We've got a garage accessory structure with possible finished space above it. We're removing a garage, which was the accessory, and now, in my mind, we're creating a whole new dwelling. It is no longer the garage is gone. We now have, I believe, a two-bedroom dwelling, heated year-round use. In my mind, we've now created two structures, two habitable structures for year-round use. An accessory structure, and you can read it in the bylaw, is a garage. Garage, I think so. So you've got a garage that now there's not gonna be a garage there anymore. So anybody else would like to add to that? But I think we've lost our accessory structure by taking the garage away. I don't know, that in my mind is what I'm seeing. If you want to
I'll
enhance it
jump in.
further.
I'll jump in right behind you, because this one, to me, also just went over the point. Because I think when we look at 243, we're talking not only structures, but in this case, we're talking about use. So when you talk about a 10-year, period, that's structure, not use. And I'd have to agree. And I'm sort of surprised that I'm not the only one coming up with this thought, because to me, although there can be an extension of use, this is dramatic extension of use. This is not where you have a garage and you fix upstairs and you make it a little bit better, or you bump it out. This is tearing down, no longer having the garage, coming up with, and I want to talk about dwelling in just a second, but we're going from a seasonal use, extending it to a year-round use. We're going for an unheated garage with a very rustic upstairs into an area that has kitchen cabinets, that has a living area, it has a fireplace, it has a bedroom, it has a loft, it has a basement. It is a serious extension. And I'd also like to suggest to the board, and I've said this in the past, that although we have typically said, and I think Mr. Borselli said this in terms of your standard conditions of a restrictive covenant or no cooking facilities, if you look at, go the next page or the next couple of pages from the accessory use and the accessory building to a dwelling, and a dwelling and a dwelling unit, although we've sort of shortcutted it by saying remove the cooking facilities and it no longer becomes a dwelling, it's not really what it says.
It's still
A room or enclosed floor space within a dwelling, okay, intended for use by one family or household for living, sleeping, cooking, and eating. It's a combination. And I'm not sure it's simply saying remove one of those, either full-time or temporarily. I just don't get it. I mean, I really don't. I'm saying this to the board and to you, Michael, too, and an applicant as well. If you're not going to look at cooking space, why would you put in kitchen cabinets? Why would you put in plumbing for all of that? And I think, this board has been very flexible with existing properties that can be an extension. And I think one of the questions was, why not just add on to the house? Well, there are a lot of reasons to it. This becomes, and the reason I asked the question about the rental is, when I went there, there was a silent retreat going on. And it was not the Bennett family that was silently retreating. So that's why I asked the question about rentals. And, this just lends itself to, as a year-round situation, a rental, I think, a real burden to this property. This, to me, as it's laid out, is a substantial change. To me, small lot, questionable access, not your issue, not your fault, but something that can potentially become a dwelling, that can potentially be rented out separately, goes too far for me. That's just my reaction to it.
Well, I agree with both of what you said, and I just read accessory building, a building such as a garage or shed located on the same lot with and accommodating a use accessory to the principal permitted use on the premises. And I don't see in there guest house as an acceptable accessory use. And I think it's very dangerous for us to set a precedent for that, because there would be guest houses popping up all over.
Out of garages.
Or not.
Or not.
You don't need to have a garage.
You could have a
But I mean,
shed.
turn in the garage,
Build a new
Closing
accessory
it in,
building,
boom.
just get permission for it to be in the
Right.
front yard.
Because there is no garage now.
right.
They're getting rid of what was the accessory use and substituting, as you said, a whole new use, and substantially extending the building in the process. So I agree.
Right, and an accessory building is also a shed, so now we would have people taking the sheds down and improving their,
Well, if we said that guest houses were acceptable accessory uses.
We don't.
You wouldn't need to have a shed or a garage. You could just build a guest house
It's
on
just-
any lot in town.
It's obviously too much of a stretch,
We have garages that have morphed into houses all over town.
Well, but at least they maintain the garage use and, there's some buildings, some bedrooms or something like that.
And just on that, maybe they have, maybe they haven't.
Yeah, I know.
And what's before us is what's before us. I don't worry as much about the precedent because I'm sure that Mr. Porcelli might say to us, well, you've approved similar things in the past, and that's a precedent. We look at them case by case. But, I'm not sure that I can recall a case that is so reflective of this that says, okay, a totally new structure.
That's it.
In fact, the only one that I can think of, and the board actually said no to it, was something years ago. You and I sat on it, was on Fay Road.
yeah, that's right, we did.
That was an existing structure that
It was an
was
old
modified.
cottage.
It wasn't
Correct.
torn down and reconstructed. But, so, I don't, even if we were to take elements of prior cases and try to apply them here, I just don't find that. I think it's a giant leap. What do you guys think?
There's too many things working against it, beyond that. The safety, all of it. So,
She can't hear you. I know, I do the same thing.
I apologize.
I do it
I just
too.
said, I said beyond those issues, there are a lot of things that don't work with this project. So I concur with the rest of the opinion.
David, anything to add to it?
No, I agree with you. I think it'd be more accepting if you still maintain the garage space underneath and maybe did what they wanted to do on that second story. But being they just eliminating the garage, it's a front yard, accessory building, it's tight parking. Like I said, when I was down there, Mike said you can have, 4 or 5, maybe 6 cars at a time. I just think it'd be too much. Trish mentioned the width of that drive.
I mean, the reality is, I think, and Mr. Briselli was right, you could have family members that bring a lot of cars in, so I don't think we necessarily control that. But at the same time, when you extend a use this far, you're actually inviting that. To Mr. Zelinski's point, you inherit the safety issues, and that's not necessarily your fault, but again, the extension of the use, and I think we need to remember this as we go through these applications. It's not just a structural issue that we're talking about, it's a use issue. And, to have expanded the structure to make the garages more conforming to today's SUVs or whatever, I can understand that. But to extend the use so far that, I mean, this has come that close to, you might as well have put the kitchen in and see what.
So what's one stove short of a house?
Right,
Right.
because the opening's there.
And again, I say to the board and the applicant, that you look at that definition, even though what we have done in the past is say, no cooking facilities, it's a combination of all those things. It's not just any one of them. I suppose we could say, put your kitchen in there, that's okay with us, but take away all your living, and then it's not a dwelling. I don't think you'd want that. So, anyway, we've got other things on the agenda. Michael, you got a sense of where this board is at?
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to ask for a continuance, but I wanted to make a few comments because.
Please do.
And you alluded to it earlier. We rely on your past decisions to predict how you're going to respond on future projects. And we meaning the professionals that are before you all the time, have the bylaw and your past votes. That's all we have.
That's right.
And I have been up here with projects that are similar as far as I'm concerned, where there's living space in a building. An accessory structure can have bedrooms in it. Whether there be a garage on the first floor or what we're calling a living room, because it's in effect like a playroom for the extended family. When does it become an extension of the use? When then, where do you cross the line from if it were a garage versus a playroom? If I took out kitchen cabinets and didn't lead you to believe that those cabinets were for a kitchen use, they're intended to be to store board games and things that kids use on a rainy day in a playroom. I've been involved with meetings with the architect and the owner and design what this was designed for. There's no trickery here to convert it into a guest house, and I wish Mr. Bennett were here.
Michael, no suggestion that you would do that, honestly. But I think it is, and you've been before this board a long time, and these individual members, so you know. And when we share this discussion with you, we're trying to give you our honest impression of things. And sometimes it comes down to 5 voting members collectively sharing their impression of the project. It isn't always so much the measurement or how much, and I think I initiated my comments by saying, this one just went over that barrier, whatever that barrier it is, and the barrier shifts from project to project. This happens to be, and I can't recall one that you came before us, Michael, with a total raise and reconstruct and a new construction of a building. I think of one not too long ago you came back twice on. It was an existing garage. It continued to be an existing garage. It was a modification to it. There wasn't a raising and reconstructing and building something with a basement, living room, fireplace, all of those things in it. And I think, to me, and I can only speak for myself, the extension is the extension of the living aspects.
If I could just for a minute, but what we have come before you with a raise and reconstruct of a garage with living space over it. When it was raised and reconstructed, in fact, it was just completed. When it was raised and reconstructed, there was bedroom on the second story, a sink, a small sink, like a bar sink, and there continued to be a garage on the lower level.
There you go.
So there's a line there somewhere between that and this, and I don't know where that line is, and that's the problem.
You stop housing cars.
And if I can, we don't necessarily know where the line is either.
Right.
I don't think this board could say to you from here on in, like we try to do with our policy on the lot coverage, that, you maintain something else other than, that's not it. It's what's being applied to this particular site, as well as all of those things it does. Okay.
Yeah, but for me, the key thing that you said is the accessory use and the accessory building. According to the definitions, a garage is an accessory building, and an accessory use, it's accessory to the principal use, which is habitation, right?
Not the
You're
principal,
building-
it's use extended.
Yeah, you're taking and building more habitation, and then separate buildings,
In that, you allow that.
without any accessory use.
You allow additional habitation through the bedrooms in an
It's
accessory structure.
basically a second dwelling.
Right, but I'm saying, you're not telling me I can't have bedrooms in an accessory structure.
No.
You're telling me I can't have a structure that appears has the potential to be
No, the
a
board-
second dwelling.
No, don't misread what the board is saying to you. The board is saying to you, on this particular property, in this particular application, the feeling is the extension of the use is too much. It's substantially more detrimental. Don't generalize it into something that says the board is going to allow anything if you put a garage space in.
Right, no, I understand that, but it's clear that the reason you think we've extended the accessory use to beyond what you feel comfortable with is because of some of the layout of the lower level lends itself to something that could become something else. I don't know how else to say it.
Sorry, please.
It's not only that, it's the fact, from what I hear from the board, and I hope this helps a little, is that right now, it's a seasonal issue, a seasonal structure with the accessory use of the garage. There is no heat, there is no actual living space, it's sleeping, they don't know how that sleeping area got there. It's going to a full year-round with heat, full bathroom, extra living space, bedroom, loft, and a basement, which it didn't have before, and we've never had one of these structures come before us with a full basement. And I believe what they're saying is the extension of the accessory and the use that's existing now, what's proposed far outweighs what's existing, including seasonal to year-round, additional living space, which is substantial compared to some of the projects that they've done in the past. And I know which project you're talking about, and it is totally different, as we discussed that one previously.
Well, what I'm
If
hearing,
that helps,
Mr. Chairman, without taking up any more of your time, I'd like to request a continuance, and what I'd like to do is come back, consider what you've said and see how we can modify this plan so that it doesn't cross the line for you, I guess is the simple way to put it. And perhaps I'll have a conversation with the health department about the bedroom issue and come back.
And as you're coming back, I think there was a request also for a building
Some
permit
kind of,
Yep.
I understand more of the history now,
and any special permit on that property.
or any special permit,
Which there wasn't, I mean, we can answer that one right away.
There was no
no
special
special
permit.
permit on this property.
Right.
So.
It's a given.
so that means it probably predated when that
Well, who
bylaw.
knows?
I'll find out what I can find out. I can only find out what's available.
And again, I think, Michael, we individually have the opportunity to speak with our zoning administrator and I appreciate the articulate comments you made.
I think I
You
understand
will,
exactly what
you
you're
will
saying.
learn a lot, I think, from having a conversation with the zoning administrator before you come back. All right, Michael, I know it's a bit of a curve for you, you can tell. So when might you want to come back?
I have one other thing that I'm very concerned about, Michael, is the access.
Well,
I
I guess we
know
need to
it's-
talk about that for a minute, because I can't change that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that can't be changed, because I'm not an engineer, but I guess my concern to you that's bothering me is, can the gravel be widened, the width of the gravel access, can it be widened? And truly, can fire equipment fit in there? Granted, it's pre-existing, but we had a case many, many, many years ago that there was a driveway issue that the fire truck could not get through, and it always bothered me. And I wouldn't want to see you increasing the use of this property, bringing more guests in there if in fact it was an access issue. Thank you.
Michael, you're also before conservation on this, too?
Well, we have an order of conditions that will probably be issued in the next week, so.
So I'm just looking at time for you, November 29th?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to put it off. I mean,
That's right.
is that the earliest you have?
No, I just,
That's
Yeah.
getting out there.
November 1st is a date that we have available to get any applications.
Okay.
But the only reason why November 29th is.
Because we have an application.
Applications, because they requested that date.
okay.
But we do have November 1st. Unfortunately, October 18th,
It's getting
We just
full.
did
That's too close anyway.
Yeah, I thought so. So November 1st or the 29th?
I'd rather have the first.
Okay.
I think we can address your issues and concerns by the first.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to continue to November 1st.
All right, we-
Just before you do that, can I ask like a procedural question? And it may not be, I don't know how I want to ask this, but, and I don't want to sound, there was a statement made that I'm curious about, that, and it just happens to be you tonight that said it, that you go on prior decisions that we made to gauge how you come before us. And as a new member, I can understand that, but as a fairly new member, I'll just say it, Matt and the rest of the more senior, they drill it into our heads to take every case by case. So that's how we look at it, Michael. I mean, I do. I don't, and it would be easy to do that, and that's where I find my confusion, pardon me, on some of the other cases, because, oh, we did that over there. But when you look at things individually, that's how we learn to do this. You know what I mean? And I didn't know, that statement kind of,
And I think the way
I didn't know how to think about that statement.
The way I took it is that you look at how we analyze things individually, how we break it down, and you put those pieces together. I mean, I know, let's face it, everyone thinks of what we do as being precedential. The reality is, we keep hammering it and say it's not. But at the same time, you pretty much know when you come in here how Matt's going to break it down and analyze it, how Scott's going to break it down and analyze it, and what else can you go on? You know, so that's, the issue is not with you, Michael. The issue is not with the applicant. The issue happened to be that and that's why we try to discuss it. If you've been here longer than I have been, so you know that prior boards, when they didn't discuss it with you.
We just voted it.
Just voted.
Yeah, my only point in making that, and it was with no disrespect, is that I know, I don't mean precedent in legal terms. I mean precedent in, we learn how you review and process permits based on past permits.
Just think of how
And forgive me, I didn't mean it, I didn't take
Just
it
think of how you
personally.
learned tonight.
So for instance, exactly, so now I've learned something, and now the next time I'll look at it differently, but,
I'm still learning.
I mean, everyone realizes, and everyone knows, the general concept in the public about accessory structures is, you can do it as long as you don't have cooking facilities. You know that's the general perception.
That's why you, and it's not the first time I've said that. Tonight I said what I've said previously. It's not that one element that you pull
But
out.
that's what the public thinks.
And, you know, again, It depends on the project you're looking at, that you try to make sure that's not happening, you try to guarantee. This happened to be a project, and I know you're upset with my saying it goes over the line, but for me, there was some kind of line that went over. And it
That
was
line
like-
might be very broad, but there's
It could
some,
be.
you have broad discretion, and I understand that. So
Yeah.
what I would like to do is
Yeah, absolutely.
have the continuance
So we're
reconsider it.
we're about to vote. I think there was
Before
a
you
motion
vote,
by...
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
someone in the public would like to speak
Oh, yeah?
briefly, if that's okay.
Mr. Broderick, come on up.
This is not gonna change anything.
Hi, my name is Brad Broderick. I'm in discussions with Mr. Bennett about building the project, and I just want to let you know that the project is lowered down to 18 feet. Right now, it's well above 18 feet. The loft area is not a habitable bedroom because it's on a ship's ladder. It's an open loft. It's got bookcases going in front of it on the first level. I asked him the same question about the existing house, could he add on to it? There's no room to add on to that existing house because of the topography. It's an old antique house that was moved there about 150 years ago. So he's strictly, the Bennett family has owned the house and the property for, I think, almost 100 years, I believe. So he has no intent of renting this out. I've been involved with 4 projects here in town that I have had, I call them bunk houses. Basically, they are a bedroom and a den and a bathroom, and I've done 4 here in town. Not to go back to
What addresses are those?
Main Street.
No.
I got 4 of them I've done, so.
With all due respect, thank you.
Yeah.
I think, if the Bennetts are back here on the 1st, we can have those conversations. The reality is, this project, as presented to us, just was too much. Okay, thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
All right. There was a motion by Mrs. Pavuli. Was there a second by Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
All those in favor of continuing this hearing until November 1 at 6:30 p.m., say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Thank you very much,
Thank you very much.
Michael. Okay. All right. What I'd like to do with the board's permission is go to the second issue on our open agenda. That does end our hearings for this evening, because now I realize we have somebody from Walmart here. So you've been very patient, I appreciate that. So Sri, do you want to just summarize? I think this is a similar request to what we had last year.
The board approved this last year to, during the Christmas season, stage 4 storage trailers in the parking lot over on the, I believe it's the north side.
I said the same.
Lost my bearings.
North, south side.
South side of the property, you know where they've been parked before, the furthest away area,
On the bowling alley side?
on the bowling alley side. Last year, you allowed it from November 1st to January 10th. As a few of you know, there was an issue at the end of the time frame trying to get in touch. They were going through managerial changes, and eventually the temporary manager was able to clear up the issues and remove the storage trailers. The new manager, who can introduce herself to you in just a moment, is requesting October 1st as a start date, because if you've been watching TV, you'll see that Kmart, Target, Walmart, they're all doing a promotional for layaway. And some of these trailers, free layaway. Some of these trailers are used to house layaway product, the other ones are used to house floor products for the Christmas season. So, Kylie is the new general manager. I don't know if you would like her to speak on this.
Let's have a quick conversation, because you may want to
Kylie, you
react
wanna
to this.
Come on up and speak in the
And
microphone.
I'll just jump right in and say, first of all, we know that management tends to change. This board, I think, after a significant modification to the special permit at the plaza, entertained a similar request and granted it. It was probably the least friendly response when we had to clean it up. The amount of time that was put in by our zoning administrator to deal with the unending, it was as bad as some of the utilities putting you on hold waiting for a call. So that's one. And I know management changes, but that's something that we need to hear a little bit better of a response, and maybe some kind of way of making sure it happens. I don't know. We didn't go out and ask the building commissioner to fine Walmart or whatever, which we could have at $300 a pop for that. That's right.
We could buy blankets.
Yeah. If the board is going to consider this, I would like to see some quality storage units, not something that is disgraceful in that parking lot. And I would like to make sure that a storage unit is not misconceived to be an 18-wheel truck that is parked there for weeks on weeks at an end. So those are just my reaction. With all of that, I still think we should do it, but I just think that when we extend ourselves to an organization to help them out, to be competitive, to be business-friendly, we ought to get the same kind of reaction in return.
And Kylie and I have had that conversation. I've explained the past to her, and she was aware of some of it when she came into my office. We have talked about those trailers. You don't see them there very much anymore. They are aware that they're not allowed there, and I believe some of them have been talked to. There's not much they can do about the recreational vehicles, although we did not have the problem
I didn't bring that one up.
I was bringing that one up. That was
I know,
me.
But they have, they are aware, and they have, and we talked possibly about putting signs, but that's up to the Wilder Group to allow signs, no RV parking. But anyway, Kylie, you want to introduce yourself? And
my name's Kylie Corsato. I'm the new store manager for the past 6 months.
Welcome to the Lions.
That's okay. We did discuss the concerns, and hopefully I won't be just a part-time store manager. Hopefully I'll be there for quite a long time, and I've dealt with towns, and I had a lot of experience, and I totally appreciate and understand. And I definitely will be, a time frame for me is huge. So if it's granted that the time frame is okay, I am very big with making sure that whatever it is that the town needs or wants, or I will make sure that the deadline is met for each way, for the beginning, the end, whatever.
So it's October 1 through when?
I'm sorry, I didn't give the expiration date. I apologize.
I think it's January
18?
I think so.
Last year we actually, I want to make sure, because last year we actually extended it, and we actually recommended the extension because at the same time, as much as we may want some things out of Walmart at this point, we also wanted to be fair, and I think sometimes to turn right around, and I think the request had been something like January 15th, and it just couldn't have been.
January 10th, and we
Yeah, it just couldn't have been met.
And I agree, and because we had the conversation, and because one manager left, there was no manager in between, I literally took over the store maybe a day, maybe to the 2 days after the storage trailers were finally taken off the property. And that's poor planning on previous. That's why with myself, the planning and the processes, I have deadlines to meet within the store and so my planning and process is to make sure, and I did ask for the extent just so that way I would not, it wouldn't go past whatever date, so it would be to the, even probably before that if I.
Do you have any control of the appearance of these units, like they're painted?
I
and
don't,
not
but I can
rusted?
recommend whatever I order is pristine in looking, where it's not something that's rusted or, I can recommend that.
They were quite unattractive last year in terms of rusted buckets.
I understand. I can see what I can do.
May I ask a question?
Yeah. This sort of informal, go ahead, Scott.
Do you have specific hours for unloading trailers? Do you ever get any overnight deliveries?
No, we don't do, because I believe the time frame for, we don't take, and I've even called and refused trucks because I know that timelines and there's a noise ordinance for 10, we don't take anything after, my personal is 9:30.
Which leads me to my next question.
Sure. They're conditioned as to their hours of being able to accept
But,
merchandise.
but there have been trucks that stay there overnight after they've unloaded in the prescribed time that bed down for the night in the parking lot before they leave the next morning, is that right?
Yes, but we do not use them.
Oh.
What it is we unload our truck, that trailer will stay on the property empty, but we always have them probably between about 8 o'clock is the latest that we get a truck unloaded. And then their house there, but it's empty and we don't use them. We shut the door and lock them, we don't use them during the night.
That's not what I meant, but
You want to know
the
about...
truck drivers themselves
They
sleep
sleep
in the
there.
parking lot. They use that as a lot
No.
in their sleepers.
Those trucks that have been there recently were kept out of the, if you notice the parking lot across the street, the lady put the chain on it. Those semis used to park there and sleep. It doesn't mean that they're semis that go to Walmart.
Okay,
But they
all right,
have-
but I had seen them
Oh, my
during the
apologies. I
night
thought you
there.
were talking about, like, no, we don't have, our truck drivers are not, they don't stay on the property.
But how long would a truck stay there after would it be there for days, or?
No,
No,
Yeah.
oh, trailers would, but
trailers, not
she's talking
regular
about the
trucks.
horse leaving, the truck itself
Yes.
drops a trailer and leaves?
No, we don't we don't have like active running trucks on the, it's just like a trailer, right?
But that's not the storage unit you're talking about?
No.
No,
Right.
those usually in the back.
So the trailer, how long would the trailer stay there?
The storage trailer?
Okay, oh, now I'm confused.
Yeah,
What we're
she's
asking
talking
for
about
approval.
Drop off behind the building, that's where the trucks
Yeah.
go in and drop off
Yeah, that's
merchandise
not the
behind,
concern.
it's not what's staged out front.
Right,
Oh.
these that we're talking about are the ones that stage out front, October 1 through
Yes.
January 18th. Okay, not rust buckets.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna clarify this. The storage trailers that are gonna be to, the south of the building
Yes.
are gonna be, drop and hook trailers with wheels?
No.
No, so they're gonna be pods.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
just, yeah.
That's, I
yes.
think maybe that's where there was some confusion. Okay, that's
And
fine.
they're generally 40 feet by 8 feet, I
Yeah, it's
believe.
8 by 40.
Okay.
All right. Eh,
The question I have is the month earlier, October, if you go from October to
That's-
mid-January, you're talking 3.5 months, right?
That's what all the competitive stores are, they're all offering layaway October 1st. They're gonna be a little bit behind, because it's gonna take them time, if this board approves it, to get trailers there, but
Well, I
That's
guess,
the
I
competitive
understand the
nature.
offering layaway part, but is there no, I mean, is there no capacity for storage, number one? Number two, in the layaway plans, is all the inventory on site, or can things be ordered and arrive later?
Things be ordered as in merchandise?
Yes, in other words, if I'm giving you a layaway for, the latest weed, whatever it is, do you actually physically have to have that on the property?
Yes.
Or,
Nothing can be ordered, everything that has to be put on layaway has to be within
Physical.
the building.
within
The
the...
merchandise has to be in the building. It's not like an order, bring it in, then they put it on layaway. Everything that they put on layaway is in the building.
Okay.
and
Then
some
it really wouldn't be
storage and
layaway
some
if you
layaway.
ordered it.
Right.
You'd
then
just
it would
be ordering
ordering
it.
Wait a minute.
Right, well, you'd be-
Wait away. Yeah.
Layaway, you're supposed to be able to come in tomorrow and pick it up if you change your mind.
Yes.
Okay,
There must be some law about that.
I don't know.
Anyway,
So would you like a motion?
yeah, I guess my reaction in terms of the assurances piece of it, I'm willing to say, we got a new manager, let's see what happens.
No problem.
Third time around, though, if they want it, I want something that we hook and tow them away and pay, and charge them the bill for it or something.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, so,
And I also, my issuance reset is the Wilder, but you know what? That overnight camping thing,
yeah. Well, it's also, it's a national
it's
policy
a
of
national policy of
It is.
Walmart.
And I agree.
And
but
this
we-
one's different.
Yeah, well, and I've also discussed too, I've always, because Wilder did put signs out that said no RV. And I've taken one step further, even though I know it's the Wilder group that takes care of it. I've even recommended to the customers, it's not allowed here. And then they do bring up the point that it's a Walmart, because we're on atlases and everywhere. And I do say, unfortunately, we lease from the company, and I have to follow the company. And usually, 9 times out of 10, the customers are okay with that, so.
Could this special permit be conditioned that if management changed, they would have to come back before this board to make that same personal guarantee to the board?
Well, I think that's what I'm saying, Scott. My reaction is, we've got somebody that's come before us, reasonable presentation. Let's see. If not, then our choices are, next year to, not approve it.
Deny, yeah.
Or to put restrictions in. And the other thing too is that if for some reason this individual isn't there, perhaps we request our building commissioner to enforce the bylaw.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Okay,
yes,
so-
I would entertain a motion to administratively approve this change.
Yes, I have no problem with that either. Do you want the dates?
Yep, October 1st through...
To January 18th.
18th, 2013.
2013.
If not earlier.
Yeah, well, that would be the maximum. Earlier than October 1? No.
Do we have a second?
I second that. Don't forget.
All right.
That's all I knew you were going to get it.
Mrs. Favuli, Mr. Zelinski, all those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous vote. All right, thank you very much. Good luck in your new position.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
I hope we are the least of your problems.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or maybe the greatest of your problems. All right. Let's go back to the minutes. There are minutes that go back to the Eder matter that Trish and I had recused ourselves so that we couldn't vote on.
Which is August 2nd.
August 2nd.
I remember that.
Those members that sat on that were Ken Forman, Patty Johnson, Scott Zelinski, and David Deviate.
I make a
So one of you
motion,
guys need to make a motion
So,
on that.
Mrs. Johnson's made a motion.
I
Is
make a
there
motion, we
second?
approve the minutes of August 2nd.
Mr. Foreman, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Of those sitting, unanimous vote. Okay.
And the next one is, I'll make a motion for August 23rd, Sands, Leaf, Nazaro, Cloisters, Maver, and Switzer. And that's a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ken Forman has to recuse.
Yeah,
Did you get that, Mel?
Abstain.
Abstain, excuse me.
Abstain.
thank you.
And why?
Because I wasn't here.
Oh, that's right, that was the night you didn't show.
You were absent, I don't believe that.
All right, next on our agenda is to discuss the proposed wind draft bylaw. And I just want to personally thank Brian Curry for having come to Surrey and ask for this board's
That was nice of him.
comment, recognizing the fact that we have not only been interested but involved in the past. So I would open it. I could not find it on the website, Surrey, so I'm glad that you sent it out
Yes,
to
thank
us.
you.
So there is a draft. I know that the planning board will be holding public hearings, but Brian has asked for his benefit for our comments, so.
I don't have it right in front of me, but the thing that bothers me on it is control of the use of the energy, the 51%. That really bothers me that we're telling somebody what they can do with their own private property and their own power. You know, we don't put that stipulation on.
Solar panels in your house.
Thank you. Solar panels, we didn't do that to an applicant that was in front of us for solar, that if they had excess solar, that they had to tell us about it and they had to use it on their own. I think we're going too far telling them what they can do with their power. What if they were only using 25% of it and they decided to share it with their abutters? That would prohibit them from doing that.
That's right.
And again, the fact that this isn't a hearing or anything, my understanding of it and following it was they were focused on the accessory use portion.
Yeah.
And how, at least what I was sort of following in the newspaper, what was how you defined an accessory use, because I know that this board, although I didn't sit on it, had questioned the issue of an accessory use of one of the turbines. So I think that was part of it. But I think it's a good comment to make, and, you know, again, when we look at, we've sat on Notice, Scanlon, Coonamessett, Fay Road.
That's it.
That's it, because the Academy and Woods Hole were claimed to be exempt. Right. And I think that, well, at least from our experience, we never went into measuring, which also means that if somebody's developing property, they've got to wait 2 years before they can actually, and if you take a company like, for example, Teledyne, that's changed and morphed a bit back and forth, that 2-year period could create a problem, you know, and I think
I think it's way too much interference with private.
Right, and a lot of times the cost of doing this.
Right, who shared it, who shared in the expense to build it?
Right, I mean, this could be a very expensive project for ABC, whoever to undertake. They may need to, for several years, take
Thank you.
that excess power, and it might be more than 51%, and shift it over to make some money back. Now we're gonna prohibit
We can't
a
do
company
that.
from doing that?
We just can't.
I think, and again, I think, and not that, this is the hard part, because I don't want Brian to think that we're just tearing apart his words. But it's sometimes tough, because as a Board of Appeals, that's what we do. And that, I think on one hand, I think he struggled with, you don't want to make it a primary use, i.e. a power plant, even
Right.
though it's wind, and fit into the accessory use piece. So, I mean, I think this will be valuable to let him know that, at least in our reaction to those, although limited numbers, more than the planning board has done, obviously, we have, the 2-year waiting period seems to be potentially problematic. The 51% seems to be, and maybe there's a different way of getting at the accessory use and the primary wind generation.
And I'm sure Mr. Curry can appreciate the fact that this is our true opinion on it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not trying to be political. I mean, they want to know what we
So,
think.
I think that's a very, very good point.
You know what, another point to that is, and this, I think, would be something that they might want to think about, as a town meeting member, and other people here are town meeting members, I've seen many times town meeting members do not want to prohibit people's rights, and they don't want Big Brother there watching. And that's just something that they're gonna have to get this through town meeting, so they're gonna have to take that into consideration.
I'll get on through a list of things just to bounce off you guys. In terms of the draft bylaw, I had problem with the definition of ambient sound level. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but it says the background A-weighted decibel average that is exceeded 90% of the time measured during operational hours. I don't.
There's a couple words left out.
Yeah, I just don't even understand it.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't the noise be there when it was working?
But the ambient noise is the background noise.
Right.
You have, at least the way we have done it is, first of all, we've measured ambient noise from a particular location. It's not here. And it isn't what's exceeded, it is what's there. And the 90% exceeded, I don't understand whether it's a 10% increase on the ambient sound, which is the ambient sound level. I just
There's a real problem, though,
don't understand it.
it's a very technical issue, what ambient noise is, right? I mean, is it, how long do you have to measure, under what conditions?
What's the distance of the, where,
Well, I
The
think.
whole question of pure tone, which came up in some of our
Yeah.
studies.
Now, is that affected by being at the highest elevation in that property? Is that affected
wind
by the low
direction.
line?
Wind direction can affect,
Right.
you know.
course it can.
Leaves on the
etc.
trees can
You
affect
can go
it.
on and on and on.
Right.
So, I mean, if this thing is going to talk about using ambient noise as a standard, which certainly is reasonable, it seems like you need to get some technical input on what kinds of approaches you take to actually measuring it definitively.
And I agree completely, but just the definition of itself, I can't understand it. And so, I think it would, because it is what if there's going to be an increase in sound allowed because of the wind turbine over ambient sound level, it's got to be easily defined, understandable, and you've got to understand how to measure that. So I think those are all, very important.
right, what's your
things.
gauge?
Speaking of.
And the other question, which has come up in some of the complaints of the butters, has been this question of low-frequency sound, and I don't know, should that be included in the
Well,
assessment?
Yeah, and a couple of things, I mean, you look at, and again, it's not in the bylaw, so I don't know, I mean, it's not on the website, but pure tone sound, which is a very complicated matter that we have dealt with, and even the particularly approved acoustical engineers, I think, maybe they don't have a hard time, they have a hard time explaining to folks
Explaining
like
it, making
us.
us understand it.
But in this, it says, see attached memo for explanation. I just don't think that's good craftsmanship of a bylaw to say, see attached memo. So I think we're sort of on the same wavelength of that. There's another thing which is good. There's a requirement for, I mean, there are many good things in here. I don't want to say that that's not true.
No, they've worked really hard,
Yeah.
and they do have some good
They
points.
talk about a proof of liability insurance, which they define as a preliminary commitment from a recognized carrier. But that sort of worries me. You get a preliminary commitment, but you don't actually get a policy. And I think that an actual coverage to be provided prior to the issuance of a use permit. And then, annual proof of insurance. You
Yeah,
know,
because a company can go out of business and they'll have.
Or
no
somebody
How many
insurance.
times should they sell it to a?
Or they don't have the.
Just don't renew your policy.
That too.
Right.
Exactly, so.
I do that all the time.
I think one of those. Another is on operating details. They've got fully identified the parties responsible for owning and operating the turbine, which I think is good because they may be different, but I also think there should be a thing that also says, and notification of any changes. Because oftentimes
we've done that.
people sell their businesses or they have a new, manager or a new company that is
Right, you need to do
located
that for a
somewhere.
liquor license.
Yep. The sound impact analysis, and this is, you've already picked up on it, talks about measurements of ambient sound levels under typical daytime, nighttime conditions. All of those things are good, but it doesn't say where it's measured.
Right, the distance,
Right.
Are
Is
we
it at
going
the base?
1,500
Is it at the
feet?
height?
Right.
Is it at the lot line? Is it at a residential dwelling?
Which was a big issue.
Absolutely.
In our
Huge.
discussions on web, it was major.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the location of the measurements can be very important. Then it goes on to say, the applicant shall specify the conditions under which the ambient sound levels are measured, as well as the frequency and duration. I don't think it's the applicant
don't
that
want-
should
it should
be.
Well, I mean, he's trying to sell it to you I mean,
yeah, but the bar should not be on the
Why
applicant.
should we, the applicant saying, we took very painstaking efforts to locate where those sound meters would be. There's also another thing in here that we put in, and I remember having a conversation with Brian when we were talking about the bylaw for wind turbines, and he said, to identify a particular measuring device is wrong because the technology changes all the time, but at least there ought to be something that says the current standard used by, and I think there's some
The
It's
market.
like best available, best practical,
Of the market.
technology.
best practices, whatever it
Your
might
best
be.
practices.
The other is, it talks about sound modeling.
I think we put best practices.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
understood.
And it talks about including but not limited to items, and it does mention intermittent sound, but the issue that Christopher Senni kept bringing up and others before us was the amplitude modulation. I want to make sure that that's covered, because I think for those of us who had done a site visit on a different project altogether the day we had been there, it was very interesting for us to hear firsthand.
Yes, it was.
That amplitude modulation, so just to have that covered. Another thing is, I'd like to recommend that even though it's the planning board that is the special permit granting authority in this, that all of the decisions meet the requirements of 240, 216. Those are our standards, the performance standards, the adequacy of the site, the suitability of the site, all of those things that give this board, and I think any board that's issuing a special permit, a little bit of
Something-
flexibility to turn around and say, it's just not adequate for this particular site. So,
That's good.
that's gonna be more important after you get all the rest of that information to make that decision after you get all that monitoring information more defined will help
yeah,
us or them as a board make that determination in the future if it's adequate or not, right?
Is it referred to the number of monitoring locations?
no.
I mean, it seems to me,
Right, you could come in with
one is not enough.
No,
Right,
we've established.
And under
that.
what conditions?
They'll,
right. And,
That'll
you know,
be-
and again, in many ways, having at least
Yes.
216 in there could give the planning board the flexibility of
Say,
saying,
hey.
given the nature of this property, the topography of it, we need to have a monitoring site there, we need to have a monitoring site
Yeah,
there, whatever. it might
you know,
be.
Yeah,
it seems like there should be,
we
thinking
should
about it,
define.
at least four locations.
But
that-
they base it on a
Don't-
triangular thing, so that's where we came up with the 3
Or
monitoring sites.
3 is okay.
But leaving it open for interpretation is,
Right.
But, you know, they need to be.
You can still put those 3 points in
moved, you
a
know,
strategic
tri-
place that
In a triangular
benefits them.
location around the, you know, I like that, because it gives some directionality.
Right.
The other caution I'd share with Brian is that they're using an 8 decibel difference between the ambient sound and the wind turbine. The state uses a 10 decibel. We use 6, and there were still complaints. So just a caution to the planning department that at 8, it's almost like you're guaranteeing more complaints because we have experience with 6.
What did you say, the state, I'm sorry?
10.
10.
But, you know, I think part of it is this issue of low-frequency vibrations.
Yeah.
And, which, you know, probably weren't picked up by the.
Right. And just on that, it talks about also the analysis being done by a qualified acoustical expert. We actually put qualifications in. It wasn't just an acoustical expert, because an acoustical expert could have experience with air conditioning compressors. But there's a specific, if you look at the Scanlon decision in particular, we put in a particular qualification that was recognized regarding, and by the way, you know, Scanlon, it was pretty interesting to look back. You know, Webb had, 5 pages of findings and conditions. Scanlon went to 9. So we learned a lot in that process. So the qualification. There's another in here, and I think it's, again, good, in terms of safety and environmental standards. The emergency response plan shall account for
That's
any
great.
hazardous materials located at the property. But then it puts in, necessary for the operation of the wind energy system. I think it should be for any hazardous materials, because even if they have it there, but it's not needed for the winter.
It should be for the whole project.
It's for anything, so, but I thought that was
I thought that was good.
I just think it needs to be expanded.
Did we not have something, and maybe I'm just confusing it with something else, but did we not have something that the board could charge the applicant to bring in
Yep, and
an
you're right on the next point.
independent,
Yep,
That's under complaints.
that's under complaints,
That
but,
we handled totally differently.
right,
The-
yeah.
the planning department has in here about getting experts, which is good, on the application itself. But I would like to suggest that perhaps they look at the complaint procedure a little bit more similar to us, giving folks the opportunity to raise the issues. We also, if there was no substantial findings, they had to pay for
An
it
independent,
themselves.
right.
So I think, again, looking at the Scanlon and Webb decisions in terms of the complaint would be good. I'm a little bit concerned about the complaint part, because it says, here's what it says right now. Inquiries and complaints, identify a responsible person, contact phone number. And it goes on to say, complaints that cannot be resolved by the parties. So it's like, go work it out amongst yourselves. And if it doesn't work out,
Oh, well.
file it with the building commissioner and the planning board. And it doesn't say what happens. And I gotta tell you that I don't think, Eladio has necessarily been a mediator, nor is that his role, so it really has to have, I think, more teeth.
He has to make a determination which would be appealable.
It's very silent about that.
It would appeal.
It just says,
It would be.
if you can't resolve it, forward it to the building commissioner. But I think the building commissioner usually wants to have a formal complaint of which he needs to respond to within 30 days.
30 days.
And that is appealable, interestingly enough, to us,
right,
even
so-
though we're not the special permit granting
Well,
authority.
that needs to be spelled out as well.
Yeah.
Because it says to, and it's their discretion, I believe, the way that it's written, the building commissioner and/or the planning board.
Matt,
Yeah.
what happens, you just mentioned that a complainant may have to pay for their own analysis, right?
Right.
Who, and then you have your general analysis that everybody else is going on. What is the party that keeps that on an even, that keeps those two analyses together? You know what I mean? Because you could have very,
In Webb and Scanlon, it's the zoning board of appeals.
so it's up to us to determine
We put in a
where they
very
both are.
detailed complaint procedure that said it took 2 abutters within 3,000 feet.
No, it was closer than that, wasn't it?
Um,
I have it here.
Yeah, I looked at it too. I don't know whether it was 3,000 or
I
1,500.
think it was 1,500 or
Both
1,800
Scanlon
rings a bell to
and,
me. And it worked, because Webb had to do it.
Right.
It
But it
worked.
took 2 of those to do it. And within 3,000 feet.
It was 3,000.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was 8,000?
And if they're two objecting analyses, right?
Well, what they would do is they would make a complaint. We would then review it, the way this worked. We've only had one complaint, so it was sort of new to us. But it actually worked out okay. If we found that the complaint was not substantive, they would have to then pay for their own testing to prove to us that there was a problem.
But we picked the.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm at right there. That's where I was trying to get with my question.
I got 3.
Where it would be an impartial
And
analysis.
What had happened in the notice complaint was that notice was willing to give us X amount of money, well, up to, they didn't give it to actually us, they wound up paying for it. We selected who they were.
To do their own or to interpret what was already,
They did the whole
What we
thing.
did was,
They were great about it.
what had happened was, the neighbors made the complaint.
right?
Notice jumped ahead of the curve, not something that was required of us,
And they-
and did their own analysis, gave it to us,
Yep.
to demonstrate to us that there was no validity in the complaint. We didn't require that, but they gave it. We took it into consideration. The neighbors were concerned about notices information. We could have at that point turned around and said, we find that it's not substantiated, and therefore go out and get your own, and they would have had to have paid. And we wouldn't have controlled that. They would have got whomever to say, here are the numbers. But instead, what we did was, we said, to be more cautious, we would like to hire a third party to review the notice information that they had provided us. Notice was willing to pay for it, we selected our own people. As a result of that, we said the complaint was not substantiated, and therefore we didn't go any further.
Thank you, because that's where I was,
Yeah.
that's what my question was. I mean,
But right now, in the planning boards, it talks about annual inspections. And it's interesting, because it says subject to.
Yeah.
And I think that it should be required annually with a report to the building commissioner. And in it, it doesn't say, the inspection shall include blah, blah, blah. It doesn't say who pays for it. So I think it's
It
got to
should be
be
on
the operator, the applicant or whatever, should do it annually and provide us with a copy of the report.
It should be, a
Definitely.
report should go to the planning board if they're, the permit granting authority,
Yeah.
they should be getting a
Right.
copy of it.
If there is no complaint procedure like we have, then I would suggest that there be annual noise testing. These are machines. They get noisier as they go on. And to say, in 2011, the noise is below 6 dBA, but 4 years from now, it could be 10 and you don't measure it. could be
and
a
what about
potential.
maintenance, annual maintenance
This-
reports? Because we
It's in there.
lost,
There's
Gotta
some-
give reports.
There's some good stuff in here.
because they lost some props off of one in Barnstable 2 years ago. I mean, lost them.
Lost them.
It was reported we had a crack blade on the.
Right.
On Wind One, I think it was. The other is on the financial surety for the
Decommissioning.
decommissioning. We had 2 different ones, depending on the size. I think in Scanlon it was $40,000. And notice it was $50,000 plus $15,000 a year for the benefit of the town. This doesn't say financial surety for the benefit of the town, which it
For
should.
themselves.
It talks about adjusted for inflation, but I don't know what that means. Is it a new annual amount? Is it based on a useful life?
And whose discretion?
And what's
Yeah.
the inflation fee, and what are they following?
Right.
CPA, yeah, consumer.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
The other thing is that we imposed, because we learned as we did our research, that the useful life of these machines were probably no greater than 20 years. So we put a limitation on the permits for no more than 20 years. There's no such limitation here.
They have
And
to come back to the board to.
right, so
review the issue.
that is one of the other recommendations. And then the other is, interesting, there's nothing in here about ice throw. And in Scanlon, in particular, we put in redundant requirements. Not only two different types of sensors on
Yep.
the blades, but a manual backup plan. And, you know, I don't know whether the
Does it
thinking
talk about
was.
flicker?
It does talk
It
about
does talk
flicker.
about flicker.
It's slightly different than ours, but,
Yeah.
no, I mean, this
Theirs
proposal
talks
does.
about flicker.
And it talks about no more than a half hour a day. I don't know whether that means collectively or on one piece of property.
More than a half hour a day. What's your mitigation? Do you turn it off, or?
They just can't do it. We did put in a requirement that they stop it
Yeah,
in ours,
yeah.
Right, they don't say, it just says 30 minutes a day.
but.
Because 30 minutes a day of flicker coming in your window every sunset or sunrise or
Yeah.
something is,
Yeah.
that's not really acceptable.
And the way it's written is that
No,
it
they
could
have
be
it. They know
10
exactly.
minutes at your house, 10 minutes at your house, 10 minutes at mine, covers the 30 minutes. I'm not sure exactly what
Yeah.
it means by that.
It's a little broad.
But,
In many ways, I thought that's potentially the most
So-
annoying.
yeah, I know, because we struggled with our own thought of bylaws back in November of 2010, and earlier than that. So I know it's a real struggle to do that. But, you know, these are some of the things from our experience that I think might be useful to them. So if you could share those comments with Brian,
There's the decision, right
that would be very helpful. Any other thoughts?
there. I'm reading
You
the
and I will
decision.
collaborate on it.
I was gonna say, did you get all those comments?
I couldn't talk and keep track of it all, but I will collaborate with
Do
you.
you remember what your standards were
Gotta get on that hot coffee right now.
for the engineer?
Yep. Oh, I mean, I'll find.
Institute of Noise Control Engineering, board certified or professional engineer with acoustical
There you go.
measurement analysis experience.
There you go.
Yeah, because if you don't have anything definitive in there, you're leaving it open for lawyer interpretation.
Well, and again,
Oh.
an acoustical
Excuse
engineer
me.
is an acoustical, well, that's what lawyers do, so that's not a problem.
Spoken
The
like a
other
lawyer.
thing, the other thing that I thought, again, is good clarification was, the exemptions were based on the size, it wasn't based on the use. So at least as I interpret the proposed bylaw, municipal use, educational, nonprofit, scientific, or agricultural would not be exempted based on who they are.
Nor should
But it
they
would be
be.
based on the size. So,
So question of the exemption.
yeah.
Could they
But I think
donate
that's at
power
least the way I
to
interpret
that
it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, so thank you for
That would be better.
analyzing that and your thoughts
You analyzed it.
collectively. It's not just my comments.
We nodded our heads in agreement.
It's the definitions that were
All right. Next, and I'll just do briefly on this one. On the upcoming agenda items, just want to throw something out to the board, because there are a number of us that have worked together now for years, and yet there are some new dimensions to the board. And I think over the past time that I've served on the board, we've done this twice, and I found it very useful. I'd like to suggest, and maybe look at your calendars, to come up with a workshop date, a retreat date, whatever it might be, not our usual Thursday nights, whether it be, last time we did it, we met on a Saturday for breakfast.
With Jerry.
We did that with Jerry. We did one night after you had recently been appointed to the board with Mark Bobrowski, and we did an evening down. It was not our typical night. We did it down in the civil defense. And, you know, and again, I think this board is pretty sophisticated in working together. But sort of my thoughts were, you know, I think it's always valuable to do a self-evaluation. what's working, what's not, how can we do better? I'm not sure we need to bring anyone in at this time, but out of this, we could find some areas that we need to focus on. But I think it would be valuable to say, give an example. I met somebody Tuesday for the first time, and he said, "Oh, I know you. What board are you on?" And I was like, sometimes I never know whether I should, protect myself. And he said, "Oh, yeah, the Zoning Board of Appeals." And he said, "You guys are so thorough." He said, "You're so respectful, and you're fair at what you do." And, I think those are things that make me feel really good when you do it, but we can always do better at it, I think. And so if we were able to, and I think we've been together enough over the past couple of months that we have enough ego reserve, I think, to be able to say, let's do something a little bit better, let's consider these types of things. We can go over some question and answers that you might have. We can do review of some concepts.
Comments from the public that I would
Yeah.
like to share on different.
And, again, open meeting, but something that, rather than doing it at the end of a hearing or something like that, that we can devote a couple of hours, have breakfast or whatever it is together. So it's just a thought. We haven't done it.
up for breakfast.
There you go.
I'm with Ken on that.
My only issue is, the next couple of months for me are very busy, so if we can move it down the line a little ways.
On a Saturday morning, is that, or does the board want to do it on a weekday morning? What are you looking at, actually? Or is that up for?
The benefit of retirement is I can do it most any time.
I prefer a weekend.
Weekend, I can't do it.
Yeah. And I think that sort of
It's always
breaks the spell of being stuck on weekdays. So are there any Saturdays in the next couple of months that we could do 2 hours?
I really wouldn't want to commit,
Okay.
I really wouldn't. I've got a
Soccer.
kid looking at colleges, I got a lot.
Okay. So you're talking about January, maybe?
That would be better.
Maybe by then we'll have a new associate member.
Well, we put a pitch in tonight for one, so, we'll see.
How about this, that if we're gonna think that far in advance, that we pick 2 Saturdays right now so that people can look at their schedule, so that we don't have to say in December, oh, we were gonna do something in January, we can't do it in January,
Early
Maybe
January would be
If
my.
we could, pick the first 2 Saturdays in January for everybody to kind of check their schedules with their significant others or whatever you do on Saturday morning.
That's a good idea.
Do you want to look at that now, or do you want to just?
Yeah, look at it
Yeah,
right
sure,
now.
let's look at it now.
Does everybody have Patty, do you have your calendar?
On my iPhone.
That's good enough, that's what I.
That's all there is.
That
Isn't
works.
that all there
What
is?
else is
Something
there?
else? I don't know. So it would be
We have a
the first 2 are the 5th and the 12th.
Well, we could certainly do it on the 12th, and you could just sing happy birthday to me.
Is that your birthday?
Yeah, but unlike Ken, I'd show up on my birthday.
Boy, Ken, that's.
Ken, you will never forget a meeting on your birthday again, will you?
I think I got excused for that one. It was the,
No, you announced it. I don't think there was any formal excusing.
So the 5th or the 12th?
yeah, either
Those are-
of those is fine, I think. I might prefer the 5th.
I'm good over either one.
And I'm good on either one.
Me too, unless there's a
Yeah.
a civil emergency.
Right, unless it's a snowstorm.
Right,
Unless it's snowing, right?
Right.
yeah, because if it's bad outside snow and I'm.
That's a
you know
Friday
I'm
also.
out.
Well, if it's bad and you're out, we're not coming
That's
anywhere.
it.
Coming
right.
behind the plow.
That's it. Well, there's a few nights this past, remember I got called out
Yeah.
after meetings.
So,
Yeah.
do you want to just do it on the 5th then?
Yeah.
Works for
I'm
me.
happy
for
to
the
put
5th.
that in.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in.
All right.
It's,
What time?
what are we doing? We're penciling it in.
Last time, did we do it at like 10 o'clock?
I was gonna say 9 o'clock.
9:30? 9 o'clock?
Is 9 o'clock too early for anybody?
Not too early.
No.
No?
Do I hear
Hey,
8?
right.
Yes, Ken.
That's his, oh, you said?
And how long does this go?
2 hours.
9 to 11.
I'm sorry, did you guys say 9 AM?
Yep.
Destination to be announced at a future?
We did it here, and Suri and I sort of catered.
I'll tell you what, I'll make a breakfast dish, how's that?
Well, I
I'll
can
make
bring in a
something.
key.
I'll
And I'm
do
sure
something.
Kathy won't want to lose out on that. She'll
Pack
make
your
something
bag.
to send.
Yep, and someone
I
needs to
think
take care of the
We
mimosas.
should do
and-
like a,
Potluck.
Yeah.
Good
exactly.
idea.
A little covered dish soiree.
They're gonna bring something?
Sure.
Oh, no, well, my wife's gonna make
Didn't I bring
something.
stuff
I'll
last
bring
time?
it.
Of course I did.
I'd like to see what Ken's gonna bring.
I'll bring a
I
nice,
will bring something I can eat.
I
That's
cook,
true.
I cook a lot.
You're quite limited, Matt, sorry about that.
You
Thanks
have
a
to
lot.
give us some clues. What are those?
No, I don't worry, you don't ever worry about me. I do take care of myself. And it's something that you'll all be able to eat too. So. All right, great. Thank you very much for considering that, because I think it would just be good.
So we're calling this the ZBA advance, as opposed to retreat.
I love that.
So if we have a new associate member, we would feed them breakfast. This might
Yep.
encourage people to join.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And then the only other thing is that I took the liberty of inviting Mr. Suso to our meeting next week. I hope you all saw that.
No, I have to show up.
Well,
There's the way to get into it.
he doesn't hire and fire for this board.
A lot of people have been asking me, and I know that individually you all have been asked too, whatever happened, follow up to our joint meeting, and so that's, I think it's about time we.
Yeah, I saw that letter, it was a nice
Yeah,
letter.
thank you. So it's about time we followed up on it, we'll see, and if there's any information, I'll share it with you, but it actually would be kind of nice to have Julian.
And Braga was here tonight.
Yeah, that was very nice.
I don't know.
Oh, he saw it.
It's melted.
Went off about 8.
All right, anything else to come
Is my
before
light gone?
the meeting?
It's still running.
Okay.
We've been here 3 hours and 12 minutes.
If not, I will adjourn this meeting, thank you.
Oh, I spoke right into the microphone.